neither one, Meredith nor I, realized it was Easter weekend. We just picked a weekend in April because we thought saw everything was getting canceled. And it wasn't until several weeks in that one of our guests was like, "You realize that's Easter weekend, right?" And we were like, "Oh, no." But, we kind of figured that everybody would still be on lockdown. And so it worked out that we had picked this weekend because it gives everybody something to do for Easter. Hopefully you're able to get outside and do something with the kids. If you still got young ones, you can do an egg hunt. But, there's many of us aren't able to go to church today like we normally would, and this was always a big holiday for my family where we would get together with my dad and all the brothers and everything. But the circumstances have made it to where we can't do that, and so you get to join us for Easter, and we definitely appreciate it. We've got another day full of special guests. We got Leonardo, or I see it now. I just messed it up. I was going to call him Leo.
Leonardo. We have Leo here as our guest, right. But later on we have Leonardo Corbucci of Cyborg's Universe.
Yep, and that's Amazon.
And I have the rundown here real quick. I mean, we're going to be having one of the devs from Q, Cards, the Universe, and Everything. And, we're going to be promoting them because it's an awesome app. And then Rob Anderson, the indie advocate and the indie devil, whatever. He changed his title, damn it. So I don't really, I just call him the indie advocate. He's actually going to be hosting a panel for convention prep, like what it I'm not going to speak for him, but as far as getting your table all set and all that good stuff and presentation and greeting people and things, we've got the Independent Creators Connection with Terrence Baker and a few of his crew that are participating in that. They have a website, they have a magazine. It's a nationally distributed magazine, which is really cool. A lot of creative people. Sidewalk Furniture. This is going to be new. Now, I don't think they're going to be playing for us, right, Matt? No, but they are a punk band, and they're going to be coming on and telling us a little bit about them. So that's going to be cool. We have Kevin Guillot of NSC Live TV, CyberCon, and Paper Heroes. And then we've got podcasters. We've got an artist alley. And then we're going to be ending with cosplayers. And we'll probably do after hours again because we're that stupid. Matt, how stupid are we?
Well, we ended up going like an hour and a half over schedule last night. But then, of course, Meredith and I had to have a little powwow afterwards to discuss the day. And we met for drinks, basically, and we sat and talked, and then before we knew it, it was 1:30 East Coast time.
Yeah.
And so, neither one of us are in tip-top shape this morning. We didn't get a full night.
I'm a hurting puppy. I'm a hurting puppy. I'll admit it.
So that 6 foot social distancing just doesn't exempt when you've got alcoholic beverages running through your veins.
Well, she's in Florida. I'm in Texas. The social distancing can't get much further than that.
Yeah, that's not the issue. It was maybe about 3 whiskeys and very little sleep that day.
Right.
One tequila, 2 tequila floor.
We're both whiskey drinkers, and we kind of just kept drinking and kept talking and drinking last night.
We kept on talking. It was just like, and then one of us would say, "Hey, we should really get going because we're going to have a long day tomorrow." And it's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, wasn't there blah 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 blah?" And it was like, "Oh my god!" I'm looking at the clock, going, "Oh crap." It's going to be one of these mornings where I just said, "You know what? I am going to wash before I get on here and just kind of get rid of the whiskey funk from last night." And
like we could smell it all the way from our houses.
I know, right? Thank God there is smell-o-vision.
We wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Thank goodness there's no smell-o-vision. But I'm staring at my bagel like really sad because I won't eat in front of you guys, because it's just ugly. I
Okay.
eat ugly. I
You
cry
know
ugly.
what?
I eat
You know what?
ugly. It's just
Breakfast burrito right here.
See, I won't do that. I do that for family only because I'm like I'm
Such
a
a
beast
professional.
when I eat. It's like I look at it and I'm sad, and the next thing it's gone, and I'm like, did I eat that?
Yeah.
Like, where'd it go?
And the one thing that I have learned from Meredith really recently is that you do not take the last bite of food off of her plate.
That's right.
Why would you do that?
I'm like,
why would you do that?
I don't know if it's a family trait.
That's
but,
like bungee cording off
it's
a bridge without the bungee cord.
right. I mean, for
You're just
me,
like,
I
you're
kind of
asking for trouble.
I eat around my food until it gets to the last perfect bite. And and then I can enjoy it. But I usually, because I'm always doing something, I'm multitasking and things, I don't always get to it, right? So the one time my husband and I, when we were dating, I had that one little morsel on my plate, and I was running around chasing the kids and stuff like that, and he cleaned the plate. He cleaned, the table, like because we were at my parents' house and stuff like that, and he was trying to be good. And I went, "Where's my last perfect bite?" I mean, I just went Hulk.
Did you ever
He never
go
did
through
that again.
Did you ever go through the McDonald's drive-through, get your meal, and then by the time you went around the building, the meal's gone, and just like, what just happened there?
I've actually eaten the paper.
I had 5 breakfast burritos when I got to the drive-thru, and then when I got around the building, they magically all disappeared. Oh, I had hash browns too. Oh, there's one left right there next to the mac.
Yeah, I know. And you're digging around in the bag
Bonus.
for that crumb.
Exactly.
Well,
Yes, keep the bag. It's recyclable.
Hey, Meredith, why don't let's start the day off right. We've got a lot of swag to give away. Why don't we pick something and just start with giving something away? We've got some people already tuned in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what? We're because this is the first time, and yesterday we had a lot of missed opportunities, but honestly, we're learning from this. And I think the next time we're either going to have a dedicated person in the background, kind of just doing the prizes and stuff and prompting them, because I'm thinking that we're going to do this when we have the time, but we want to engage with the audience and stuff like that. And what we're going to do, because it's on replay on Facebook and YouTube, we're on 5 different channels right now. I'm actually going to go through those for anyone that I missed. And if we haven't given them away live, we're going to go back because we don't want any prizes left over. We're giving all the door prizes away. So what I'm also going to do is go in and find those people who are engaging. We're going to throw them in the randomizer, and we're going to pick them as well.
Very cool.
So that's the plan. That's the plan. You know why? Easy peasy, and because I'm kind of drunk and wheezy. Alrighty.
Hungover.
If you don't want me to shout, I'm going to give a shout out for everybody who is in this morning. First of all, my teammates Jessica and Melanie, who are going to be premiering at 10:30 Eastern Standard. But we have a Max. I hope I pronounced this right. Maxime. It's a Belgian guy, and he calls
Maxime.
Maxime. Okay, thank you.
Could be.
Well, one of us is right. Maybe the M's are silent. I have no idea. We're trying not to butcher your name. We're not French. I'm sorry, Maxime. But French guy in Belgium, as he calls himself, JR, who is the 4th Doctor extraordinaire. I consider him our premier traveling TARDIS 4th Doctor. He's just spot on attitude. Everything is the sweetest guy out there. Stephen Orth is joining us. And I want to wish everybody who's celebrating Happy Easter. For those who are friends who celebrate, Happy Easter there.
Very much
so. Was there anything else? You know what? I wanted to check something here, because I think yesterday was someone's birthday. And I'm double checking here.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of birthdays.
I'm sure there was a lot of birthdays. I want to say that it might have been Jonathan Hedrick's birthday. and I wanted to give him a shout out because we've got two copies of Freak Show Princess that are signed by him, and maybe later when I'm a little bit more awake, we're gonna sing Happy Birthday. All right.
You got a mouse in your pocket because it ain't no we here. You hear this accent?
Happy birthday to you.
Uh-oh.
When she gets to the Mr.
I got my
President
Marilyn.
part, we're all doomed.
That we're saving that for later. I don't have a blonde wig. I have a pink one. I was thinking about putting it on, and I was just like, maybe that's going a little too far. I don't know, Jonathan. If you're listening, I will do Happy Birthday for you.
Wait a minute, Maxime, or I got it right. Maxime says I got it
Maxime.
right. It's Maxime. It is Maxime.
Well, he said you were more right, so we still didn't get it right, but you were more right.
I don't speak French here, so that was off the cuff there. So.
So let's see. It is 10:12. We're just doing coffee. We're waking up. We are, kind of stretching our wings and getting, comfortable in our seats again. We kind of did the rundown of the guests that we're doing. And Matt, you said we wanted to do a prize. We wanted to do a door prize, like right out of the box.
Already?
Yep.
Well, why not?
It's usually why we want to keep people on.
We've got lots.
We just say we'll have prizes at the end of the show, so we can stay on later.
Well,
and we are going to go back, and scoop up the people and throw them back in the randomizer, and we're going to do random drawings that way too. That's not going to be live. That's going to be afterwards, but I will probably do screenshots so that you guys know I'm on the up and up and not just picking my favorites. Okay.
And we mentioned earlier that Sidewalk Furniture is going to be here, so let's do this. If you're a fan of punk rock music or just of music in general, comment on one of our platforms there, one of our channels, and we'll say the first 3 people that comment can have a download code for Sidewalk Furniture's new CD that drops this Wednesday.
Oh, they're a band. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, right?
Clueless.
I thought there was some company in Texas. I was just like, hey, if you want a great chair, you're going to need some living room pizzas, and you will still want to practice that social distancing, we got 40% off for you. We've got a sidewalk sale because we don't want you coming into the store.
And what's cool is the reason one reason that we're having this group on is that they're a punk rock band, but they have songs that deal with Stranger Things, Star Wars. So there were several other. They're in the geek realm, and so were you ever able to download any of their stuff, Meredith?
I haven't. No, I have just literally been doing like all the background stuff to get us organized, so we have as pretty a production as possible.
Well, and it's been beautiful, darling, beautiful. But
beautiful. Fabulous. That's fabulous, darling.
I will see if I can jump over there, but before they get here, I'll see if I can't download something, get something ready. I don't know if I'd be able to stream it in here though. But anyway, maybe they can. It's their music. Maybe they got a way that they can play it for us, play some. But I haven't seen.
If I had something that had decent speakers, I would probably play it, just in the background using my mic and all that stuff. But I'm not that coordinated right now.
Now?
Silence. That's not allowed.
I want to see 5 shots of coordination right there in the morning.
Is that a new drink?
Yes.
Hair of the dog.
No. You know what the cure for a hangover
for those who don't know
is?
what hair of a dog is, come on.
There is a cure.
Yeah, I might need one.
No, the cure for
coffee.
No, the cure for a hangover is to stay drunk.
Hey, I think I used up my whiskey. I need to get some more.
It's Sunday.
Or I would have made myself an Irish coffee. this morning.
Maybe
I don't
from
know,
real
Christian, if you guys are ready to maybe pop on here early, and get an extra 15 minutes, with your shows, because we love your shows. And that's, we've got that coming up next is Legend of the Traveling Tardis, a Doctor Who radio show. Could you make the title a little longer next time?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
it's actually the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, a Doctor Who radio show. I mean, if you want the whole thing, that's how so I can.
But
explain
you are
to
welcome.
People. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you are welcome to bring your crew on here, and like I said, I'm staring at my bagel like a really sad puppy right now, and I want to eat it. So I'm going to pop off. You guys can pop in and do your thing.
Yeah, pop me off.
Pop you off.
Yes.
All right, Jessica, if you can hear me, go ahead and turn on your video. There you go, Jess. Thank you. All right, let's grab them in here. Hang on one second. All right, yeah, put your pants
Kick
on.
Me.
I ain't kicking you out there.
Technology.
There's the lovely girls.
Oh,
there's the girls.
I'll kick you out. Yeah, there.
Do I have to wear pants?
My
pants better be optional right now.
I did it.
I know. You can't see anything below the waist.
See? I did it.
Me coordinated too, so we went with the blue.
Just nobody, play the national anthem or anything, and y'all will be okay.
I got the rooster outside doing that from all the way from Bithlow, so they're going to be doing that there.
All right, he's not going to kick me. Christian, you're too nice. Go on, do it. Do it. I dare you. I double dog dare you.
No, I'll just mute you.
He has the power.
Yeah, don't give him.
You can be seen and not heard. Oh my goodness. How can I do that? How can I do that? Oh, I can't push the microphone button again. Something jammed in there.
Now, Pat,
I didn't do it.
Pat wants to know how you did that, though.
I am a god. Now I got to tell Melanie, because she's been razzing on me since we're a little early. Did you notice some things in my background and what's going on in my foreground?
Oh no, I saw the fact that you were in light, that you're not sitting in some cave in the middle of nowhere. So you invested in a lamp, I see.
You could call it that, yeah.
If anyone's seen our
Hey there, what is that?
Yay! It's Jody pitching our show.
Jody,
no, I've been razzing Christian for the past 3 episodes at least. That it's like he got a brand new camera, which absolutely is amazing, but it doesn't have the features of it to read the light in the dark so well. So it looks like he's literally sitting in a cave.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, you put a light on, and he puts a flashlight on, or his phone, or something. I'm like, what are you doing?
Here in Muppet Studios, in this high-tech facility we have here. But did you notice what's behind me?
I did notice that.
Yeah.
It looks very familiar. It's the backdrop that you use for our booths.
Yeah, it's a shower curtain, but we don't want anybody to know that because I don't want them to think I'm cheap. So anyway, I don't want to
say it loudly directly into the microphone.
That's right. I want to give some shout outs to people who've been on the chat, who've been waiting patiently. Nicole, Jane, Grimshaw. She says, hi, everybody. You got a special treat, guys. Ladies are coming on in. Maxime says, hi, Jessica and Melanie. And guess who? Speaking of premiere, there's JR right there. Good morning, Melanie and Jessica. Happy Easter to all. So everybody who is, again, celebrate this holiday season, yes, please. Happy Easter. Even if you're doing it in the confines of your home, stay safe. Whatever there. And, oh, wow, look at this. We got a friend from Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
That's so cool.
Please put the phonetic punctuation or whatever you call it. Yeah, because I will not be able. I can't.
I see.
But I want.
Fitejacques, maybe.
Fitejacques.
I'd say Fitejacques.
Fitejacques.
Maybe I could not. I'm not sure. So I'm.
Great. You just called him an umbrella in Thailand. Very much. Thank you there.
I'm trying to go phonetic.
But everybody, good morning. Yeah, for those of you who are probably not familiar with the Legend of the Traveling Tardis, let me introduce myself. My name is Christian Basel. If you want, please venture over when you get a chance. You're probably also listening to us on the Facebook page at the Legend Traveling TARDIS, the Doctor Who radio show. Oh, yeah. I want my son back.
No, he went to the UK with me.
I will explain this little ditty.
I sent you a whole Google Doc link
I
on my
know,
drive. Every photo I took of him in London, and then at a donkey sanctuary in Sydney on the Devon coast. So he's well traveled.
So you've been showing ass to my Tardis.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Lots and
Hundreds
lots of
of
ass. Hundreds of ass to my
Hundreds.
Tardis
Amazing.
there.
Yes.
Anyway, we do a weekly radio show, and guess what, ladies? As we were speaking this morning, 2 more guests have been added to our agenda, our time frame. We are going to be getting 2 more guests. We just did yesterday. I had to actually duck out. We did Andrew Cartmel, who was script editor for series season 26, which was the final series, and a couple seasons beforehand, and he had to talk. And because I don't know if you noticed that, but the Cartmel master plan gets a lot of mention with the Timeless Child. He's got an opinion about that. But you've got to listen to our show to get that information there. So that will be coming out shortly. We already did Ross Mullen, which just dropped yesterday. Many Monsters. I think that's the title of it. Sorry, I just dropped it yesterday.
He was silent. He was in the silence.
Mm-hmm.
He was first. He talked about how the first thing he did was a panto with him being an ice warrior. He's done a lot of Doctor Who monsters, but if you're a Game of Thrones fan, he's done a couple White Walkers, but he was actually the first White Walker you ever see in Game of Thrones that looked right at Sam and then made that on the horse with the spear and screamed. That was him.
Yeah. All righty. Well, let me introduce my co-host, my wonderful co-host. First of all, that shirt, Jessica, is outdated because it's no longer boyfriend anymore.
I know, it's my husband.
Congratulations, Jessica. Jessica, when did you get married again? When was last year, right?
November, yeah.
November of last year. Yeah, but you had it out.
I've got my cosplay husbands as well, so and they're all doctors, so it's it should say my husbands are Time Lords.
Oh, it's true.
So
Jessica and I came out. Well, I think it was Florida SuperCon.
Yes.
It was the coolest idea. First of all, if Melanie, show them the traveling TARDIS one more time if you can. That is how everything started 7 years ago with that little metal box right there, and it's become the legend of all the conventions now. And I don't want to give it too much ego because it'll probably get bigger on the inside, but now pretty much an international sensation. We're getting people from Thailand, we're getting people from France, and people are just loading up. We have a new audience coming from Singapore and Poland.
So awesome. There's your scale.
Our fans, all right?
Isn't that the way? Isn't that when cats say they rub it against their face and says it's mine, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, don't make me drive to Tampa and get it back. I'll get it from that cat.
Is that cat from New Earth?
Yes, she's going for her nursing degree now.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Jessica. You and Donovan, and tell us a little bit about the wedding.
Oh, it was a nerd.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
So we actually had a full-size TARDIS at the wedding. It was one of our good friends who's a 13th Doctor cosplayer, so I had another Doctor at the wedding. It's fine. But it was her TARDIS. Her and her father built it, but it's full size. And me and my Amy Pond cosplay friend, we drove like a Ram, Rav, Dodge, whatever, huge, massive truck with a TARDIS in the back from Florida to Tennessee. We're both tiny girls. And to see us getting out of that massive truck with a huge TARDIS in the back was just the funniest photo on the planet. But no, it was super nerdy. We had things from Guardians of the Galaxy, and the bridesmaids' dresses were TARDIS blue, which I didn't plan on because they were ordered online. Because I was like, I'm not having my bridesmaids pay tons of money for a freaking dress they're gonna wear once. It matched the bloody TARDIS that I had at the wedding, exactly. Couldn't have planned it better. I was like, this was meant to be in time and space.
That's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was great. It was good fun nerd fest.
Now, what is that? Is that Leanne's TARDIS?
Yes. Yeah, that's Leanne's TARDIS.
I might get into that story. There's a big story behind that TARDIS. A big story. Yeah, it was a point of controversy, if you remember, a while back.
Oh, it made the news.
It made the news.
Right, it's that Tardis. I think your listeners.
It is that
Tardis.
Know.
But we'll get into that.
I had a contraband at my wedding.
Yes. So now you can put that in your resume.
Yeah. I mean, what other River Song wedding could you be at without contraband? Like
exactly. Now I'm just going to interject, and then I'll bring Melanie in there because when Jessica means husbands of River Song, Jessica and I came up with this idea, and I think I came up with the idea, and you're just like, you know what, let's do this kind of deal.
Okay.
But where we had all these different doctors, we literally had like doctors meeting up over at SuperCon, and they were doing it, and I said, you know what, I got to do this. The Wedding of River Song. We're going to have every single doctor from each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we had almost all of them except for maybe the first 3.
Yeah.
Proposed to Jessica at the same time, lined up around her. They were all pointing their sonics at her, and it was the wedding proposal of River Song. So
it was beautiful.
That's out there. Yeah, it was beautiful.
I made a lot of new friends.
Probably not for the right reasons, but anyway, there
were no other rivers. I mean, so I got them all. It's fine.
Now Melanie's got a cat problem. Speaking of cat problems, Melanie, this is my director of the show. She is wonderful. I mean, literally, if I did the show by myself, it would be the insanity. So Melanie keeps me sane.
It would go 2.5 hours long. It would
exactly.
ramble. It would not. It's usually me with 11 billion notes and sticky notes saying how much time you have, whether we can go to commercial after the news.
Seriously.
And then my favorite one, having to tell them commercial after the answer. Or just commercial.
Literally, if you watch the YouTube channel, she actually does these little papers, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and then at some point she'll write down "shut up" and go to commercial break. That's how we roll out there. Oi, commercial, exactly there. Melanie, tell our friends out there who may not be familiar with you or the show what you do, because you are an artiste. If anybody bothered looking behind you,
yeah,
look at that.
Well, pan up. So yes, I am a portrait artist. Oh, let's see, 13's right behind me. Now you can't see me though. There she is. So I'm very much in the con circuit. You'll see me in Artist Alley a lot. I paint. I drink tea. It's kind of my thing. And I talk about Doctor Who and all that fun. But yeah, so my big thing is in Artist Alley. You'll see me doing mostly painting. I used to be into more of the cosplay scene, and then I just stopped. The sewing kind of started ramping down, and the painting started ramping up. And so if I can find that balance again, I'll be a happy little clam. But yeah, that's it. I paint and I do a podcast.
There you go. And this all the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS started 7 years ago with Melanie's TARDIS, my TARDIS, her cat, her cat, which is
otherwise she'll scream.
And it started off as a hobby where I just took a TARDIS, took it, and the quote unquote was to take it places that the TARDIS hadn't been, or the Doctor hadn't been to. And it used to be 7 years ago when I used to go to the conventions, I would be asking people, hey, can you take a picture of my TARDIS? I run the site. Everybody thought it was a cool idea and had to beg. Now, today, when I go to conventions, I don't even get a hi. It's Christian, where's your TARDIS? I want a picture with it right now. And it's just like, that's how it's become popular, at least in the South.
I took it to a convention, to Pensacon, without you, and people were like, oh, is that the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS? And I was like, whoa, you know about this? Like, I'm not even Christian. Like, you know about? They were like, no, that's the TARDIS. And I was like, yes.
I put it in frame.
Photo.
It's just really funny just to watch. I've had people take it and they've had the same reaction you got. They will take it to another convention out of state, and they'll go, "Wait a minute, is that what I think that is?" And they're like, "Yes," and yes, I want my photo with it. And just like, oh, this has become more than just a hobby. And now today, yes, we're up to our 70th episode. And we've been around since the day that Jodie Whittaker premiered. We actually premiered our episode before Jodie stepped into the TARDIS. So we became, and that was a review show. Not a review show. I'm sorry. It was a prediction show. What we thought what was going to be there. Hi.
Hello.
Leo, stop showing off. Who is she? Turn on your microphone, man. Or I'll turn it on.
This is my niece,
Hi.
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, hey.
Wave hi.
Hi.
It's okay. I would be embarrassed to be on Leo's lap too if I was there as well. So it's okay.
All
And
right.
happy Easter.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. that 15 seconds of fame went up to 13 and a half seconds, and that was over with. Well, ladies, what we would like to do is, since actually our scheduled time has just started, we're going to open the floor to everybody in the chat room who want to ask us questions about Doctor Who, want to ask us questions about the show, want to ask questions about us. I see Nicole is in there, Maxine's in there, JR is in there. So please, if you want to ask us a question, now's your chance. You're going to get an answer live from all of us. Did you gentlemen, Matthew, Leo, did you have any questions for us while we get this? Start off the radio show program.
Well, we heard from you yesterday, Christian, on who your favorite Doctor was.
Yes.
Jessica, who's your favorite Doctor?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
On
So
the spot with you.
It's a loaded question. So
Yeah, she's River Song, so pick one.
That's a very loaded question. So used to back in the day, I was just like, no, I love them all. They're all different, and they're, the nice, PR answer. So I have my favorite classic Doctor and my favorite New Who Doctor as well. New Who, it's 11, which is why it's a loaded question, because my now actual husband cosplays the 10th Doctor. So, and I have a very good friend who does the 11th Doctor. So there's always that little competition there, but it's fine. But then my favorite classic Doctor is actually the 6th Doctor. He is one of my absolute favorites because he has that mix of whimsical with the darkness, which I absolutely just adore. And I think that's also kind of mirrored in 11. So I have a type.
So, I don't think Christian has seen this yet, but since you brought him up, I have to show this.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is an
gorgeous.
autographed picture we were giving away to some lucky winner today. And
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, we purchased this from Kevin over at nsclivetv.com.
Mhm.
And it will be given away at some point today. And
Okay.
Meredith said that I was going to make you cry with it, but since he's
You
not
did.
your favorite Doctor, Christian, I guess we're going to make Jessica cry
Third.
with it.
Oh,
Third favorite Doctor.
is a wonderful. I met Colin when I went to Pentagon, actually, and bless, I had this shirt on, and there was a lovely little flirting thing, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I just flirted with someone like twice, 3 times my age, but it's fine because he's a doctor. You're allowed to if it's a doctor, right?
He's a Time Lord. He's 50 times your age right there. It's Colin.
Yeah. It made my day. I was beaming the rest of the day because he ended up calling me Jessica Rabbit as well, and I was like, I shouldn't be okay with it, but I am. This is fine. just because he's Colin.
Colin is the ultimate flirt. I'm serious.
Absolutely.
He is a gorgeous man. And when there's a picture, I'll try to see if I can find it in the traveling TARDIS. But there's a picture of Hulanta, and Nicola was over there, and they first saw. They were holding the TARDIS together, and they were like, "Oh, lovey-dovey," Six and Perry together. And I said, "No, I don't want you to hold the TARDIS like that. I want you to hold the TARDIS like you're having one of your arguments." And if I can find the picture, give me a minute there. I'll try to find it. But yeah, if you guys want to keep talking, let me see if I can find the picture there.
Great.
Melanie,
Melanie,
who's your favorite Doctor?
I'm gonna do Jessica's little thing and make it so that I can do a classic and a new. Well, because my first Doctor was Tom Baker. I grew up watching him on PBS with my dad. It's like some of my earliest memories I have with my dad is sitting there watching the Tom Baker ones. When New Who hit, I kept getting pulled between 9 and 10. If I had more 9, I think Eccleston would have been my favorite Doctor, but it's 10. I really like Tennant. So I really like the fact that he had a lot more dark sides. and then also was happy-go-lucky. So he kind of was more manic and a little out there. So I really liked his episodes too. I thought a lot of the writing was, some of it had a lot of gravity. Other episodes really had a lot of just more fun and playfulness, like the Doctor always had. But then he would become like the Time Lord, almost Time Lord Victorious in some parts, like Waters of Mars. And when he went, a little insane. So yeah, I really not saying that I don't like 11. I love 12. 12, I liked his last season more so than the other ones, and I really do like Jodie. So it's kind of hard to say my flat out favorite because there's different parts I can keep ranking, and hence why we have a radio show, because we can talk about it forever.
Of 9, like,
oh god,
it's just on point.
the fact that like 10 is getting more episodes because of Big Finish, that's really kind of, even for me, kind of pushing him up a little bit more. If Eccleston ever wanted to make the jump to Big Finish, which I would love, but I know he said he's kind of, that's off the table. I think that would help push 9 more out there, but I have to go with 10.
What's your opinion on the Timeless Child?
Oh God, we only have half an hour.
We only have half an hour. Okay, so I could recap
the brief opinion.
Show. I could recap it with, at first I was almost thinking that this is controversy for the sake of controversy. We're just going to try going in there and having fun, or Chibnall just going in and going, I'm going to throw a wrench and doing anything I want. And almost on that side of, why are we doing this? I was kind of more confused than anything. But then after talking to one of our panelists, Dr. Freedom, Brian Burris, he really kind of brought up a lot of points that I started turning the tide for me, where it was just so much more opportunity, where who's always reinventing itself. The show is always trying to push itself and doing new different things. So it's not like just because I'm more familiar with the new Who, not stopping and going back to seeing all the classic and all the other things that they've done to just flip the switch. Like, okay, well, you think this is the thing? We're going to change it now. They've constantly done this, and I keep forgetting that. So Timeless Child, I think, is a great jumping off point to do a lot of fantastic things. So there's a lot of opportunity there. Could it be good? Could it be bad? Yes, but I think looking at it for the opportunity that it invokes, that's a good thing. So might breathe life into a show that's starting to kind of almost stagnate, and I think really it really is. That's amazing.
And what about your opinion about the new master?
Oh my God, Jessica, do you want to answer this one, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
I'm long.
Yeah. Okay, so when he first came on, I was a little bit skeptical because it felt like he wasn't really finding his footing, like with the first episode. But then, like, this past little bit, the last few episodes, you see that beautiful mirror to the new Who master, as well as classic Who, of the manic and the dark and he did it in his own way. So honestly, he was the best part, in my opinion, of like a lot of this series were his little snippet scenes, not his first episode where it was the spy fall or whatever, where it was like, oh my gosh, it's you. Because that, for me, didn't really resound as making a lot of sense, and it seemed a little sporadic plot-wise. But the actor himself, I think, masterfully got a hold of that character and really produced such a believable master. So I was very happy with his performance, and I was very happy with the way that he was written and kind of taken control of through his arc, more so than like pinpointing some episodes. But that was my opinion.
Mine's different.
And what about you?
Yeah,
what about your take on the Cybermen, on the last couple of episodes of the Cybermen?
I just think the master needs to find another villainous race that he needs to just love. I mean, it's always the Cybermen. I don't know why people were all said, oh, look, the master's got Cybermen. This is incredible. This is new. Missy, when she comes out, says, I'm, Missy, I can't call myself the master. What was her go-to? Cybermen. Delgado, Cybermen. The master loves himself, herself, however you want to call it, loves themselves some Cybermen. So I thought the redesign was kind of cool. I thought the idea of they're Time Lords that our brains are in there and that they could regenerate. I thought that was actually really kind of a neat little nuance to be kind of afraid. However, my own brain was kind of going, well, they're already dead. They didn't regenerate. So actually be Time Lord Cybermen. I know. Then I went down the rabbit hole. So I'm trying to be very, very glass half full and not half empty. So come on.
I can't find the picture.
I do love that they used all different eras of Cybermen, though. I like visually from a production standpoint. That was a beautiful kind of aspect that they had of having, you're like, there's a Tenet Cyberman. Oh, there's this Cyberman, and you kind of saw them through the ages. I thought that was just beautiful in its consistency with that. But also, Melanie, you were saying about like the Cyberman with the master, but if he went to different, it's almost like that is his consistency. That is a weird obsession for him. Yeah. So doesn't it make sense that he wouldn't leave his little pool of favorites?
No, that's very true, because I think that's probably why the master loves the Cybermen so much, is that he knows how to manipulate them and knows how to use them to become his minions. So that's why he just keeps tapping that well, which I would wish that he could just try to tap a different well, because we've got so many incredible monsters in Doctor Who. Yeah. Where, I mean, if you pulled out the silence out of nowhere, I would have been like, oh my God, this is amazing. Are you kidding me? So
it's more from a storybook standpoint of you want different monsters in Doctor Who, not necessarily the master tapping into different.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I kind of
sure I was translating that correct.
I think to me it's the masters just tapped that well so many times now, and I just kind of wanted something a little different. But that's just kind of going with the word Cyberman, taking the Cyberman and then making them have like the big Time Lord collars, and I thought that was
pretty. I didn't want to like it, but I loved it, and I was like, crap, why do I like this so much? Like, it looks so darn cool.
Yeah, I was like, Cyberman again, and then went, well, you changed it. Okay, we changed it. Oh, you evolved that. Oh, wait, what? They can't be killed? Wait, so that's kind of my, I wish it wasn't Cybermen again, but at least the opportunity part of going, well, let's go ahead and take this and put it on its ear. So I thought that was really ingenious.
Now, do you think they're really lacking in Daleks in this, series season?
Well, they keep going to standalone ones, so it's not like it's the whole Dalek. I think maybe Chibnall wants to stay with that the whole Dalek fleet is gone, because if you think of the season finale, where it was you had the one Dalek, that then took over Orion's dad and all that kind of fun stuff. Spoiler. Oops. You probably should already watch the show.
That was 2 seasons ago. So
right.
Don't make me go there now.
Had 2 years.
Come on, people. I do like that they are utilizing the Daleks a lot, but I mean, like within reason. And I kind of like wish that. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay that they are utilizing the Daleks a little bit, and in the season finales, they're using them when you need a big bad. Almost like if you go back to like the Buffy universe, who you always kind of each year they had a big bad. So she had all these other monsters, but there was one big bad. I like that the big bad 2 seasons ago was a Dalek at the very end for the final episode, and then now you have the Cybermen. So at least I think that in the hierarchy of monsters, it's kind of nice that they're utilizing these tried and true, terrors of the Doctor for important episodes, and that they're not just kind of going, oh, look, Slitheen. Yeah. Well, make them the bad guys. And you're like,
well, which is also what Chibnall had tried to do that first season with Jodie, is like, no old classic monsters. And everyone's like, what show is this?
I know.
Like, you've got to at least have one.
Yeah. Have one that would be, I would love to see him. Well, I mean, 12 had the Ice Warriors kind of come back again. That was nice. I was like, oh God, we're harkening back. So I just think it would be nice to kind of maybe see another well, he also had the Zygon, so I would like to see more classic again, but well we're Chibnall's driving it, so let's just see where the show goes. I'm hoping it's getting better, honestly. For me, the writing and everything is getting better to me.
Yeah.
And what is your opinion of what happened to Gallifrey when the Doctor went back through the portal in the last couple of episodes?
I'm just, I don't know if I want to be everything to be turned on its ear so much, you know?
Because it felt like it was a little retconned.
It did. It felt a little too.
It cheapened the Time War a little bit there.
Yeah.
You know, we could have the Daleks, or we could just have the Master walk in through the front door and just wipe out everything. I'm just like, why?
And it kind of cheapened even like the 50th.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's just like we went through so much to get to this one point of hope, and then you're like, oh, by the way, there is no hope. And I was like, excuse what? Like,
no, I agree, because the 50th kind of gave it a new idea of, look, we're going to go ahead and take the reboot of 9, quite frankly, and we're going to get rid of that. So it does exist, but we're going to make it this long overarching, storyline where it's going to be 11 trying to find Gallifrey, which great. That's great storytelling. That's kind of,
and it went through 12.
Right, and it went through 12 to kind of get back. So I thought it was neat that finally it tied a ribbon on it. We did find it. Okay, it's back again. That's kind of cool. And I think it'd be kind of fun to see in a classic way. I was kind of hoping that we'd see Jodie start kind of having those little fights with the council and everything, kind of like we did with 4 and 5 and 3, all classic Who. I was kind of hoping to see more of that kind of interplay again. Mm-hmm. But then when the Master came back and just went, oh, I destroyed it. So the differing opinion with the Master is, for me, I think bringing the Master back it cheapened Missy because it was so quick, so soon after we just killed off the Master. So I was kind of in I love Sasha. I think he was amazing. I think he's the role's really good. I think his acting is well. I just don't know if the timing was so quick and right. So
that was my opinion with that first 2 episodes. I 100% agreed with that. I was like, really? Didn't we just do this?
Yeah, especially since we just had not only did we have Missy, and then they brought back Sim so that they could kind of have that little interplay. So they really had that neat little way of wrapping the Master up. And I know the Master's never always going to be dead. So I think it would be nice to have the Master come back, but I just think so quickly, and then compound it with, oh, by the way, not only am I back, I just destroyed Gallifrey. Yeah. And I destroyed Gallifrey because they lied to me, because now I'm even more jealous of who you are. What?
Yeah.
It was just, to me, it's just too many pills to swallow all at once. Yeah. I think I'm somebody that can storytelling. I like that slow burn, where if you look at Game of Thrones, not the last season, the slow burn of how everything slowly, the architecture of everything kind of went. I wanted that, and I think Who had a lot of that in 10 season, and there was more building, like we were building towards something. I think Chibnall is, I don't know if he's running it for a master plan that he's going to be the showrunner for the next 10 years and would have has his art, architecture out. Maybe he does, and we're just, again, along for the ride. So I'm just talking out of my butt. He's hoping, but it almost seems like he really is looking at it as a 3-year kind of plan, because so many things are happening so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump in for a second, because first of all, let me put up this picture, because hold on, because I do think she deserves to be there, because she's been chatting the whole time we've been talking there. There is Faith Kelly, and she is one of our premieres, as well as JR is, of the Traveling Tardis When We Go Places. She's posted a lot. She goes, yes, okay. Same. I was confused at the first 2, and it was turned around for me as well. Love Sasha so much. Favorite Master. He's brilliant. Oh my gosh, those Cybermasters, though. the design. I was conflicted. I liked them so much, but I did not want to. We're getting more Daleks, a special, so I'm glad we get a break from them a bit. And Faith continues. I did a bit. I don't know what she was responding to. And then the Master messed up everything, came in like, nah, I gotta wreck this. I still like Sasha. It is before Missy. And also we have a good friend of mine, Graham. He says, good morning, happy Easter, everybody. Still working out last season. My feeling is the Master was over the top, and it was really given a reason. So I wasn't really given a reason. I'm sorry there.
Yeah.
And Faith just said, hi, Christian. So there you go. Let me throw these up over there because I just want to show you for people who may not be familiar with the traveling TARDIS. I could not find the fight between Colin and Nicola. So there is the picture of them together with the TARDIS. But I did find this fight. And Paul was all for this. It was Eric who was kind of like, I'm not sure I want to do that. And then all of a sudden, Paul just convinced him to grab the TARDIS and start fighting over it. So that was precious. The number one picture that everybody loves, undeniably.
Yes.
Still,
Yes.
Everybody loves that picture there.
With the attack eyebrows.
And I love telling this. I've been starting to tell the stories now. I basically handed him the TARDIS, and he goes, "What do you want me to do with this?" I'm like, "Do what you do best." He stood right there, and that's what came out seconds later. And then I started to walk away, and he goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm done." He goes, "You don't want to be in the picture?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to be in the picture." He grabs me, unbeknownst to the camera people, and says, "Take a picture." He's holding me with he's holding me to make sure. So I got 2 pictures. I got a buy one, get one free because Peter Capaldi refused to not have me take a picture about that.
Oh.
We do have a site on the Traveling TARDIS called No Sir All 13s. And if you are caught with in a 13 outfit and cosplaying 13 with the Traveling TARDIS, you can have pictures like this on the site, especially just for you there. Jessica's going to have a ball with these next 2 because these are my favorite time of year at Halloween Horror Nights. And really goes off on there. And this one I kind of like because it is spooky. It just happened to be the right timing, and I just happened to be on a ghost tour when it took place.
That's really cool.
So this is just some of the stuff.
That's an episode right there.
That's an episode right there.
There it is. That's the promo shot.
Exactly. That's just the trailer shot over there. But I wish I could find the Wholanta shots. For some reason, I can't find them. But that's kind of what I do, and what that little blue box has been through for years. I mean, that and the celebrities alone that have graced it. Good God, it's just incredible there. I never gave my take on the series finale. Is that what you're asking, Leo? Without the microphone? Yeah, you can be quiet. You know,
you're the mic, babe.
I'll unmute you.
You mute. There you go.
Go ahead. That's what I would say.
Okay, well, here's the thing, and I'm still working this out. The ladies know that I have not even rated this yet, and I have my reasons why. It's one of the only episodes I think I haven't even rated because of what happened. And here's my take. This is a sneak preview. I might get back to this, but I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to really look at other opinions because normally when I do the show, I try not to look at other stuff. I try not to look at because people will influence your opinion. You'll go, well, I didn't think about that. And what I want to do when I do the show is I don't want to be influenced by anybody. I want to, when I see it, you're getting the core of what I see. I could be right. I could be wrong. It's an opinion, but it's something that I saw from my perspective. And I just want that to be alone. Having said that, I think for the Timeless Child, here's what I could not convey, and this is what I think was driving me crazy, but now I can say it. And I can say it now because we've been talking about it. I don't think the Doctor's Liu Kang. Meaning, I don't think the Doctor's the chosen one. And shouldn't be the chosen one. Meaning that the Doctor, I think, has been the Doctor because of choices. And not because they were chosen. And because he was just, and I know I'm going back by gender, but because he was just the bloke he was. And it's parroted throughout the series, including when Capaldi says, hey, at the end of the first Missy episode, the first season that he had when he had Missy, I can't think of the name. I'm so sorry. Darkwater, was it?
I think so.
Darkwater?
The first one.
He says, I'm just a bloke going through time, righting wrongs. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
He goes, no, I'm an idiot. And I think that's the best thing. He's not Superman. He's Batman. He wasn't a chosen one. He didn't have gifted special powers. Yes, he is a Time Lord. And then I'll just change the gender back. But she became the Doctor by the choices that she made. And that, to me, that's my opinion. Like I said, I could be right or wrong. But when I'm dealing with, and going back to the PBS era, when I grew up with Tom Baker, when I saw first time William Hartnell, when I saw all these people playing the Doctor, that to me is my take on it. And that's why it was so hard to take in that the Doctor was more than that. Now that we had the conversation with Andrew, which is a pretty interesting take, because they were zapping onto his Cardinal Master Plan theory, he actually has something to say about that. And it kind of enlightened me too, that there's a reason why it's called Doctor Who. And if you remove the Who part, then the show's over. What's the point? Why give too much away? And I think Chibnall gave a little bit too much away. And I just liked it when the Doctor was just a bloke, when it was just Batman. It was a guy in a suit who just wanted to do the right thing. And that's just my opinion on it as far as the Timeless Child. Now, like I said, I could be wrong. There have been several comments that came up. Thanks, Faith. Yeah, Darkwater. But
Faith is awesome.
I feel like it's such a half and half with that, because I agree with you wholeheartedly about the child and like having it be too much information. And that's, kind of like the issue that a lot of people have, with that clickbait show, like The Mandalorian, of like Yoda's species, and everyone's like, no, that was always supposed to be very secretive, and like everyone was happy with that. No one wants more information with that. But at the same time, I do feel like some of this answers a lot of questions that have always been plot holes previously, like the Valiard. We now have an answer of why we have not seen in our sequence the Valiard, which we should have, because that was because it even says in Classic Who, it's between your 12th and final regeneration.
But I think also it is,
or 11th and final regeneration. And so it kind of like helped with some like plot holes that they've written themselves into, as well as, River says, one cell, the world would rip themselves up, rip this world apart just for one cell of the Time Lord, so it's like there's definitely little aspects and little lines that you see both in Classic Who and Current Who that tie it all in. And that's why I don't 100% hate it. I don't 100% love it, though.
But here's the thing.
I'm conflicted.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of. It's like me trying to rate a brand new roller coaster while I'm still riding it.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't ride it until I'm off the ride.
And you're just right at the top. You're at the top and go, rate this.
Yeah, so this is the greatest thing I've ever had. We haven't started yet. I'm buckled in. It's like after the first loop.
But here's the thing. If you ask, because I will give Chibnall credit on this. In the writing part, in the writing aspect, as far as we know, this doesn't exist. But if you ask the BBC, it exists like crazy. I'm just like, oh yeah, the Doctor has these new lives and everything. It's just like, wait, this is still an open discussion, because technically the Doctor had but the BBC has been advertising and putting out stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, she's open, she's got all these lives prior to, and it's like, well, wait a minute, this still could be a lie.
Yeah.
And what Chibnall does now, the new showrunner can go in there and redo this and say, no, it was a lie the whole time. And it's just like, but that's what drove me nuts, is the BBC was pushing this. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm still giving the interpretation that this could all be a lie, but it's just like, okay, so who are we appeasing now? Because now I am open to the prospect. Like I said, I'm going to go with this in an open mind, but I got to see where like you said,
it has potential, but it also has potential to completely destroy everything.
Exactly. Well,
There's too much power.
There's too much going on into it to just let it ride and say that, well, this is it. It's like the Valyard. I don't think it's just because they couldn't write the Valyard. They just didn't know what to do with the Valyard.
I wanted Capaldi to be the Valyard.
Nobody
He had such potential. That was my opinion.
But anyway, it looks like we're done, ladies. Thank you guys so much for everybody joining us on Legend of the Traveling Tardis. Thank you, Jessica. Song Swung Cosplay on Instagram, and Melanie Dean, you want to check out her art on Facebook. Give it a shout out. Sorry, guys, we've been running, but yeah, I think half an hour was too short for us. We could go on. And for everybody who newly subscribed with the Legend of the Traveling Tardis, thank you. We hope you enjoy all the episodes, guys.
Hey, thanks so much, ladies, for joining. Christian,
thank you.
Thanks again, bud. Hopefully we can have y'all on again soon sometime. And Bill McSci-Fi. How you doing this morning, sir?
With his dungeon.
I have my coffee. I've got vodka in the fridge. I'm doing good, actually.
Hey, the essentials of life. The essentials of life.
A friend of mine is a rabbi. He said the new commandment is, I am the Lord thy God. There's a time for coffee. There's a time for booze. And that's the only time you have anymore.
Well, that works for me. Bill, we had you on yesterday but of course we've got a lot of new viewers today. And so explain to everyone who you are, what you do, where you come from, and where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Well, 58 years ago, I exploded from a womb. We don't need to go back that far. I'm from Chicago. I'm a science fiction writer. My real name is Bill McCormick. Amazon screwed up my author page and it made me Bill McSci-Fi. So I stole that because they screwed everything up. They actually had me writing country music, which I don't do. But we got that all fixed, and then I became Bill McSci-Fi, branded the web. I got the website and the Instagram and Facebook and everything else all done. I'm a science fiction author. I've got a trilogy of original stuff out called The Brittle Riders. You can see that here. I've got 5 different comic book series going on right now. I've got 2 new novels coming out this year. I didn't write them all this year. I wrote them previously, and they finally got published. One is called Gopri of the Mists, and that answers the musical question that no one asked: what would happen if the Brittle Riders was set in India? And the other one is called Splice, that's a fascinating story all on its own. We don't have time for it, but I was hired to look at a comic book. I ended up getting hired to write a movie. And when I finished with the movie, we spun back around, and then they had me write a novel based on the movie I'd written. And the novel's coming out before the movie, but so we optioned it backwards, but we got it done. And right now the novel's in beta read, so if anybody here wants to read it, hit me up after the show, and I'll happily send you a PDF for your reading and entertainment. So it's a brief one, too. It's only about 70,000 words, which for me is like a Post-it note because I write long stuff.
Gotcha. Where can they hit you up to get a copy of that, Bill?
Oh, even if you go right, oops, you took me off there. All right, you go to BillMcSci-Fi.com. There's a contact button. You can just go here. This is where it is. Go here and just click on contact and send me an email. Or you go to Bill McSci-Fi on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. I'm on all of them, and I'll happily send it to you. Anywhere you can find Bill McSci-Fi on social media, you'll find me. It's pretty straightforward.
So you didn't have any desire to take Amazon up on the offer and start writing some country music, huh?
No, actually, the thing of it is there's several guys named Bill McCormick. There's Bill McCormick, a sports writer who works with Sports Illustrated, and he's a nice guy, actually. And he and I have a friend, Moira McCormick, in common, and none of us are related to anybody else except by blood. And then there's another Bill McCormick who writes theology, although I think he went to jail or something because all his stuff was just scoured off the web. And then there's another Bill McCormick who he writes country music, and then there's a Bill McCormick who writes kind of like about equestrian things, anything to do with ponies. And then there's me. So when they switched my name up to Bill McSci-Fi to try and fix one wrong, I was like, cool, I can keep that. I'll work with that. Now I'm no longer Bill McCormick in the herd. I'm Bill McSci-Fi, unique and alone. And I made it, it's been working. So,
yeah, that was kind of a fortuitous because I mean, like my name, Matthew Harris. You go and look that up, and there's a ton of writers out there with Matthew Harris, you know, and you even put the K in there for the initial, and there's still a ton of Matthew K. Harrises, and it can make it hard for fans to find you. These days, it's a little easier compared to 5-10 years ago on the internet. When you would have to go and dig, several pages deep into Google to find the person that you wanted when they had a common name. There was something I had marked on your profile. I just wanted to ask you. Now, you started out in radio. Is that correct?
I actually started. Yeah, I started out back in 1980. I was on the Rock of River Grove, WRRG, all rock, all night, all day. I was a DJ. And we had to talk like that. It was in the contract. And so I did that for a few years. And then I worked for Radio Ambiente Antena Juanas for a while on Espanol. Okay. In Tijuana. That was fun. And then the Mexican government put in an order that only Mexican nationals could be in the media. So I got canned. And I came back and I worked for WYTZ here in Chicago, which was ABC FM and Z95. And I did a local music show there. And beat of Chicago, and did that from 86 to 91. Did some other guest stuff, and then now from 2010 to date, I've been doing a weekly radio show on the local Fox affiliate called The Big Wake Up Call with Ryan Gatenby. As he's the host, and I'm just the dude who wanders by once a week and waves at people on the radio, because that's really effective doing visual jokes on the radio.
Right.
But yeah, I did start there, and I wrote for music magazines in the 80s, and I wrote for sports journals late 90s and all the 2000s. I've been kind of all over the place, There's an old Indian expression, Hindu Indian, that says every man should live 5 lives. And I think, I'm pretty much on my 5th one now, and see where it goes.
I hear you there. And, we're both up here in the gray areas, and there's days that I feel a lot older than my years, that's for sure. But Bill, I asked Alan Baxter yesterday, and I want to ask you, anytime that an author, a published author is on, they get asked the question, what's the number one tip that you can share for writing? And of course, inevitably the first answer is always, you have to write. You have to get it out of here, get it on the paper. And then, what I like to ask is, besides that, what would be your second number one tip to those? Because there's a lot of them out here that are geeks and are fans of Geek Insider, that they are, budding writers, budding comic book writers, budding novelists. And so what would be your tip?
I think my biggest tip would be get eyeballs on stuff. I know some writers like, nobody can read my stuff because it's copywritten and no one is going to steal it and everything. Fuck that. I get beta readers. I have, for example, the Splice book. I wrote it. Then the publishing company went back and did a quick buff on it. Then we went to an editor, a guy named Alan Chickering, who did a great job on the book. And now we're sending it out to beta readers. And I got like 20 people who are reading it. And if, like I said, anyone here who wants to read it, I want it. Because if I miss something now, I can fix it. When it's sitting in a store and someone's paying $15.99 for it, I can't fix that. So I want to fix it now. And you have to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to accept that not everything you do is perfect. Not everything you do is a gift from God. You write these stories, and I've had it happen. When I wrote The Brittle Writers, I was talking about it yesterday. I got to about the end of book 1 and realized I'd made a massive mistake with one of the characters and in a plot hole. Now, I could either go back and backfill and pray to God nobody really noticed, or do what I did, which was erase 80,000 words and redo the entire 3/4 of the book. And then have that end up only being chapter 1, because I ended up doing 300,000 words to make the thing work. My publisher hates me, but loves me. And now The Brittle Writers is it's out digitally, and it's coming out in paperback, or hard, half hard, whatever they call that, as an omnibus. So you can literally, if you want it, you can buy the 1,200-page version of The Brittle Writers. It's all one big chapter. So just don't put a page break on chapter 12, because there is none. It's one big story. And it's a very linear story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. People they start out living and they end up dead, and so it's kind of final.
And I think, Bill, you can actually attest with it as too. You have to pick the right criticism, because if somebody just comes up and says, like sometimes on my show, "You suck," wow, thanks, moving on. But if they literally give you a criticism, you can either take it or leave it. I mean, like a detail. Okay, this is what I found weird about your book, or this is what I like about your book. But you actually have to take the criticism that's constructive. The criticism that's just blah, whatever.
Well, a really good example of that. Yesterday, I got a critique back on a short story that I'd written, and it was rejected. And the person who rejected it wrote me a really lengthy reason for it. In other words, they really liked the story. They liked the elements of the story. They just didn't think I'd put them together well. Okay, that's a valid criticism. I think my favorite criticism that it absolutely had no value whatsoever. Some guy wrote and he goes, "There's animals in it. I don't like animals." Fuck.
What?
No animals.
Right?
I hate to disappoint you about 3/4 of the literature that's out there, but at least
stay away from George Orwell. Then I guess.
Exactly.
Right? That's exactly what I was thinking. No Animal Farm for you, buddy.
Yeah.
So, Bill, one thing that going back to some of the guests yesterday, somebody said that, or another author said, a big thing to do is do a lot of reading. Get in, especially in your genre. Do you get a chance to do a lot of reading? Because I don't ever have time.
Yeah, I make time for reading actually. But it's funny. I heard that to do read in your genre. That's actually what I don't do. An author years and years ago told me, a very famous author, we're now pretty good friends, but told me, he said, every story's been written except yours. Write that one. And one of the things he told me was learn to write in different styles. Learn to write a business proposal. Learn to write porn. Learn to write comedy. Learn to write all of it. Because then when you're writing your story, you're bringing all these elements. You're not going to write porn for a living. You're not going to write business letters for a living. You're not going to be a copywriter for a living. The lady yesterday was. But the point is that you can bring these elements to play. And when you need a scene where the person has to do something or has to explain something or has to be involved with something, it isn't just you guessing at it. You now know. And that's been, I think, the best piece of advice I ever got. I've become a fan of authors way outside my genre. I'm a big Judy Blume fan, believe it or not,
Wow.
And I'm never going to be a lesbian or a cowgirl, but I really like her stuff, and just an incredible writer. And, and I'm a big Tom Clancy fan, and I'm never going to be a hardcore Republican who believes in a worldwide unified CIA. That's not going to happen. But I think he's an amazing writer. And so I learn, I learn from these people and I learn what they're doing and go on with my life. But I never want to limit myself to just what's in front of me or what sci-fi is. Because even in sci-fi, I mean, if you look at my stuff, The Brittle Riders is a multiverse based on or a universe based on genetic manipulation gone wrong. Basically, it's Frankenstein's story with the flip that the monster wins, and then what happens next. Only the monsters live. Legends Parallel is a story about a multiverse, but it's based on the original math from Hugh Everett III from 1949 to 1954, where he posited that the multiverse broke apart at the Big Bang, and that there may be quantum variations, to make like an evil Bill McCormick, or if maybe I'm the evil Bill McCormick. There's a nice one out there, I don't know, but that doesn't really come into play. Instead, in this version of it, there's all these Earths, and only some of them evolved humans. Others, different things evolved there. Some maybe no sentient life whatsoever. So we took that and made that the basis of Legends Parallel. Hybrid Zero is about a multiverse way in the future where violence is no longer socially acceptable at any level, and it ends up with a family of assassins have to save the day. So that's fun, and you get to play around with that. But everything's different, and everything requires different math. It requires different knowledge. It requires me knowing more than just my little universe. And I try and make stuff when I write these things, like Splice, for example, is very military based. And I'm not in the military, nor have I been. But when I was researching the Brittle Riders, I interviewed a lot of people in the military so I could make the battle scenes accurate. I didn't just want to copy and paste something out of a textbook. And one of the things I learned was you interview the nurses and the doctors who've been in battle. because they can tell you what the effects of battle really are. They will tell you stories that'll curl your toenails. You know, when they're like, this 18-year-old boy, his intestines were hanging below his nuts, and they tried to put him back together so he could go fight again. Right. When you start getting stories like that, now you can bring those stories to play in your writing. And I did. And, you know, I've had people who are in the military become amazed when they find out that I'm not, that I never have been. That I was, you know, I mean, I spent my youth as a touring musician, playing bands and doing radio. And I know, it was basically rock and roll, cocaine, and groupies, man. That's how I got through my youth. And God, I'm out for cocaine.
Not exactly in that order. Anyway.
And what's this on your bio about the rainbow-haired goddess who keeps waking up in your bed?
Her name is Kim, and she's still here. Actually, she's watching our Sunday Easter service on the TV in the front room. We both go to the same church. She's an amazing woman. She's smart. She's funny. She's like, you wake up and you're happy, you know. And I found her by accident. We met on Facebook, and we went to a bar together. And she was 2 hours late, so I was pretty well hammered when she got there. And I sobered up enough to put together words. And she decided to stick around. And we almost got arrested for public indecency, and we've never been apart ever since. There's a make a cute meet.
Right.
There's your meet cute story today.
Together, sticks.
Yeah.
No, I got nothing on that.
Christian, did you have any questions for Bill?
No, not at the moment. I meant, I guess, as being a writer, how do you stay? What is your methodology of staying focused? Because that's been one of my hardest, and I know that some people have that issue as well. How do you just stay grilled? Well, into this day and age now we can't, but with all the social media going on, and trying to promote your books and trying to write one, how do you balance out that system where you can focus and say, you know, I need to do this, I need to write this book, and move on?
I actually kind of have. For me, it's like going to work. I get up in the morning. Mm-hmm. I allow myself up to no more than 2 hours on social media, drink coffee, have a sandwich, whatever, play around, say hi to everybody, do my Twitter, do my Instagram, do my Facebook, check out Pinterest for God knows what reason. And then, you know, and my Vimeo channel and different things, and just make sure everything's there, answer emails, what have you. Then for me, I flip on YouTube. I've got these really cool headphones. I flip on YouTube, find, you know, some upbeat music, sometimes EDM, sometimes goth metal, sometimes Ukrainian folk ballads, whatever. I'm a huge fan of like Ghanese jazz, so whatever. But I'll put on some upbeat music, throw on the headphones, and then I zone out, and I'm just right for 4 or 5 hours solid.
No, I'm stupid. What's Ghanese jazz? Just to give me a.
It's jazz. It's made in the country of Ghana. It's done usually with it's an acoustic guitar, an upright bass, a small trap kit. Very seldom vocals. The guitar pieces are really lightning fast. I mean, you hear these guys play it, it's like it's incredible stuff.
Cool. Okay.
I'm gonna have to check some of that out. My music that I listen to on any given day just depends on my mood. You know, for years when I wrote, I listened to the Braveheart soundtrack just because it you know, that instrumental and that Scottish sound. I don't know, for years that's what I did. But then here lately it's been 21 Pilots. I'm one of the last ones to ever learn about a band because I don't listen to the radio. I listen to my Apple Music and the stuff I like. And so I only found 21 Pilots about a year ago, and I listened to a lot of their music. I like the writing of the songs. I'm not a big heavy metal guy. I do like some old school Metallica. I don't really write with that because then I end up start singing along, and then I don't do any writing, you know. And then I can't listen to old school country. That's what I grew up with. Don't like new country, but I grew up with old school country, and I can't listen to that because it's the same thing. I know all the songs, and then it makes me want to start drinking whiskey, and Meredith gets mad at me when I do that at 10 in the morning. But,
yeah, I actually have some old CDs of the Grand Ole Opry from like 1949, 1950, somewhere in there. So you know, like Merle Haggard early in his career, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm a big fan. I grew up like you. I grew up on old country. I don't write it. I don't sing it. I don't play it.
Right.
But I like it.
Yeah, I had a Waylon Jennings cassette that was, I guess it was one of his first ones. They had a woman on the front of it. They wouldn't put his ugly ass on there. And I had it for years. It is, old school Waylon, but it had some, and I don't think it was Jesse that was on there. We got the avid Paul is already here. Bill, let everybody know again where you're at, how they can get that PDF so that they can be a beta reader. Give them all the rundown one more time, sir.
Yeah, real quickly, BillMcSci-Fi.com. Here, let me hold it up there to the thing. BillMcSci-Fi.com, or just punch Bill McSci-Fi into any social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, doesn't matter. I'm the same on all of them. Hit me up. I will happily send you a PDF of Splice. It's violent. It's weird. It's the birth of a supervillain, and you haven't read anything like it. I can promise you that.
Well, I want
to. Meredith.
Well, hey, and you're also going to be on a little bit later with the ICC Independent Creators Connection. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
We got lots to do. Lots to do.
Well, Bill,
I'm
going to be hitting you up because I want to be a beta reader of that, and that's something that I keep saying that I have to do. Is I've got to take at least 30 minutes to an hour in the evenings to read, because otherwise I've got one of these devices in front of me, and then my brain doesn't shut down when I climb into bed. You got a million things going, and I've just found that if I do read a little bit before bed, I seem to be more relaxed. I get a deeper sleep. But that's neither here nor there. I want to check it out, Bill. You got everybody. You can check back later for ICC with Bill as well, but check out BillMcSci-Fi.com. You can find him on social media, like he said. Bill, thank you again, sir. With these little, one thing that we learned from this con is that 15-minute increments just generally doesn't do it for most of our guests, because we just kind of get into a flow and a rhythm, and about the time that we're really getting to go, the time is up. But we definitely appreciate you stopping by, Bill. We'll see you later this afternoon.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
You too. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
And let's see, I see Lucy and Paul are already here. And I know that a lot of folks over at Q, that is Cards, the Universe, and Everything, have been waiting on this. And hi, guys. Paul, nice to meet you.
Hi, happy Easter.
We're already here.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. So glad you guys could join us. Lucy and I have met, several times. We've been talking over the past couple of weeks. Paul, she said nothing but bad things good things about you.
Yeah.
She is awful. Yeah.
I am just horrible.
And in case you guys couldn't tell from the accents, these guys are both from Boston. I mean,
right.
They're across the
I
pond.
don't hear no Boston accent.
No Boston. But no, they're
No
across the
Boston.
pond over in the UK. And I tell you, I've been talking you up, guys, for weeks. I am a fan of the game. I have been since I first laid eyes on it. Not just because it is that battle kind of game like Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering, which I played both. I used to have a deck of Magic cards that would have probably made me rich if I'd have kept them, because I could sell them now. But what initially attracted me to the game was the backs of the cards, because I just thought that was so unique that you guys include pertinent facts about the character of the card. And not only that, it literally is the universe and everything. So
I'm just going to pop that overlay up so people can have an idea of what it kind of looks like.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And
So,
Lucy, so in your words, they keep hearing me talk about the game. You're the social media guru for Q. So why don't you put it in your words? What is Q?
Q, Cards, the Universe, and Everything is just the most incredible app, because not only can you have fun, but you're learning at the same time. And what can be better than that? So, you're going to be the most ideal dinner party guest, because you will know the facts about anything and everything. Or if you're in a quiz, no one's going to beat you, because you can play Q and you're learning anything from things about the bottlenose dolphin, red tree frogs, we've got giant scorpions. History, science is a big focus on STEM, so science, technology, all of that. We've got everything. It's basically a big learn-a-thon, but it's fun. It's fun as well, and it's competitive. And people are getting really competitive. And now we've got leagues.
Yes.
There's no stopping us or no stopping the players.
Yeah, and the leagues, man, if you snooze, you lose your place really quick because there are some serious folks going after those packs.
People are.
And I was so happy.
We've had angry emails from people who just like woken up after literally, they've gone to sleep at night. They're woken up in the morning. It's like, I've dropped 2 tiers. What's going on? That's how leagues work. Sorry.
And I was happily surprised. I guess it was this morning when I had dropped so far. I thought, oh crap, I'm not going to get anything. But then it started showing the other tiers because I was only seeing the first 3 tiers at first. And now that I've dropped so far, it's showing me those other tiers. And I'm like, okay, well, at least I'll get something, besides getting my butt kicked.
And how good are leagues during lockdown? People are locked down, people are staying in. Now they're like, leagues, we don't want to go back out there because we need to stay on the app. We need to maintain our position in the leagues. Couldn't be a better time.
And it's funny because you guys really have, the full spectrum of players, because I played during the day, or my day, with the players in the United States. And then about the time I'm going to bed or starting to go to bed, you guys over the UK are starting to get up. And so those players come in. And then so I'll find myself here, 2 in the morning. I'm going, well, I want to trade this card and I'm doing this. And my wife, I'm glad she's not in here right now because that could be a problematic game. I'm always, she goes, you going to come watch TV? And I go, yeah. And I bring my tablet in there and I'm playing Q. But
under the covers with a torch. Just
OCD and Q go together like peanut butter and jelly because I had to get every single card. But Paul, sir, that new gold card, that thing can kiss my butt. I spent over $250,000 coins yesterday and didn't get one. You know what I did? I got mad and I traded someone a titanium for a gold because
right.
I'd spent so much, and then somebody had to brag and they're like, well, I opened 1 pack and got one. I was like, oh
yeah. There's always someone that does that. And whenever we hear things like that, our first instinct, I think this is quite a British reaction. Our first instinct is panic. And we just think, oh, have we screwed up? Have we screwed up? And we go and we immediately run a simulation to check, have we screwed up? And most of the time, it's just someone's had really bad luck. Occasionally, 1 in 20 times, we have screwed up, in which case we have to fix it very quickly. But most of the time, it's just the odds. That's just probability. Probability sucks. We can all do without that.
It's luck of the draw, but that's what keeps it so exciting as well. It's what keeps people, coming back and playing even more.
Right. And if you guys are new to the game or you haven't downloaded it yet, you're going to snooze on this one or lose on this one. But get the game, because those that are playing right now, I know that there are a lot of them that have been waiting for something a little special for their Easter, and you'll see something on my screen right now. And that is an official Q code, but you better run because there's only a limited number available. And so that kind of goes with that.
Get that myself.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, Paul. But yeah, it kind of goes with today's fusion with the Easter eggs that we have gotten over the last few days. You can fuse them if you've got 5 each into a Moai statue. But if you use this code right here, folks, then you can get some free swag on Q. And I do have, we gave a couple of codes yesterday, and then I've got this one.
They went really fast as well. I had a few people on Twitter straight away being like, how have they gone already? And I was like, were you watching it live? Were you watching Virtual Con live? I don't think you were. Get up.
Yeah, because I had it. I went onto our Twitter and I did retweet the first half of the code, and I said, if you want the second half, you better be watching.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I guess some people were expecting us to say it, and so they just had it playing in the background, and I rolled it across the screen on a banner.
You don't want them to multitask. You're like, no. What are you looking at me?
Well, and I didn't do that on purpose. It was just that there was a panel on at the time, and I had said, you better be tuned in the next 3 hours. And so I just scrolled it across the bottom. But you're right. They went really fast.
Right, Matt. You didn't do that on purpose.
No.
Everyone loves
No, actually, we did want people to pay attention. It's like, pay attention, guys. Keep keep an eye on things. But I have issues. I have issues with you guys because he's obviously not busy enough that he's playing Q all the time because I tell you, I mean, I don't know if he goes to the bathroom with it or, you know, what he's doing, but, you know, I spot check it. In fact, Q has actually replaced Candy Crush for me, and which is a lot, okay, because it's like the only game that I play anymore. And, you know, so when I do my playing and I see him out there, I'm like, what are you doing? Get back to work. Chop, chop.
I feel sorry for some of our devs. We've got one dev. This is the bank holiday Easter weekend, and he's been messaging me at sort of 6 a.m. this morning because he was reading some chats on Discord, you know, from some of the players. And it's like, guys, just take some time out. But actually, he's kind of addicted to the game himself, which is just as well because he's also the lead game programmer. So. Yeah, I worry about how he's actually going to get any kind of downtime at all. Maybe what he should be doing is coming on to Geek Insider and, you know, reading some articles to unwind. That's what he should be doing.
There you go.
I think the beauty of it is that it's not limited to just monsters or dinosaurs or bugs or anything like. I mean, it's literally everything, and so there's that wealth of just cards and content that you guys can keep streaming and make it interesting, and all those fusion cards and everything. So I mean, everybody who's listening, if you haven't downloaded the game, you know, go to it's compatible with iPhone and Android, correct?
That's
but
right.
no desktop version yet.
No,
Is
not
that
yet.
coming?
Yeah, it's probably going to end up coming, but that's going to be a longer term project. That'll be around Christmas this year, I think. So yeah.
So definitely, if you guys are listening, make sure that you get that on your iPhone or your Android. And you know, Matt, you do something special for some of the newbies.
I do. Not a lot of people know it, but I monitor the base camp, and whenever I see somebody that's not asking for a fusion ingredient, they're just asking for not even a limited card. If they're just asking for, you know, an oddball card that I have 50 of, I will not only go in and I look to see what they have doubles of, and I'll take one of the doubles and I'll load them up. And if they're newbies, and I don't really have a cutoff point. You know, they can have a fusion, especially if it's one of the newer ones that I know, you know, that they can work hard on. But it's just nobody with, you know, like 19 fusions like what I have. But I don't just load them up with the commons. I try to load them up with some cards they can actually play, especially with the leagues going on. And that's something that I'm going to do today as well. I am going to be loading up one lucky newbie. They don't have to be present to win. This is going to be someone in game. I'm going to load them up with 4 fusions, and not 4. It's not going to be 4. It's not going to be 4 ligers. I promise you, it's not going to be 4 ligers.
Everyone's really got it in for the ligers.
And let me tell you something. As long as you don't have my name, he's not going to kick your butt, okay? Because I think he enjoys that way too much.
Well, it was funny. Right after we started playing the game, I was going in and did a match, and I was toying with this person. I didn't even look at their name, and I was like, let them get way ahead, and then I'd stomp them. And then after it was done, I saw her name, and I went, oh, shit, Meredith, I didn't realize that was you.
It's making and breaking friendships and relationships.
I was like, you dirty bastard.
And I didn't look at, because a lot of the times before everybody got on the same version, you know, I would be doing those that we play against the automated players, because I was on the beta. And so I got in this habit where I wasn't even looking at the names, and still I'm having to retrain myself now because you're actually playing other people. And I had to change up my decks because, you know, I had the ones where I was like, I can beat the automated players, the bots, with this deck. And then I get up against somebody that really knows what they're doing, and no, that deck sucks, man. You got to, and thank God you have the ability to build 10 decks. You know, I get these certain cards that I like. You know, of course, the French Hen and the Galamus together. You know, that's the one that is just brutal. But there's a lot of combinations out there that are getting even right there with it. I loved the Wild Bill Hickok and the playing cards. along with penicillin, which I guess Wild Bill probably needed some penicillin. But even
this is going to sound like the weirdest conversation to anyone who hasn't played the game yet. It's like, Wild Bill Hickok and penicillin. I mean, those two together.
Well, what's even better is Zeus with his thunderstorms with penicillin. Give Zeus some penicillin, and he's deadly. But that's what I mean, guys, is that the game it does have everything. You've got medicines, you've got science things, you have science things, you have like weight, turbo, God, there's so many cards, and they're adding more all the time. And that's one question that I had: has there been any thoughts about doing an actual card game? Not
don't we, Paul?
Yeah, it's something which keeps cropping up, and we would love to do something like that, but it would really need a lot of changes, because there's quite a lot of math that the app does for you, and if you actually have to figure it out yourself, it's like, okay, right, hang on a minute. You'll be like spending half an hour to calculate kind of how a turn works out, and there's things which you need to kind of bear in mind. So, okay, right, I pulled this card on this turn, but was this card already in my hand when I pulled that? So those kinds of things are kind of left to the processor. So
I can insert that Stephen Wright joke though that says, I played and it got a full house and 4 people died. Something like that.
Now, I know I've touched on this with Lucy, and then I've seen it a lot in the card suggestion chat. But so I got to ask Paul, because this is when I asked everybody, told them the devs were coming. One of the big questions is there going to be a way to recycle all these freaking extra cards that we have? Or I've seen somebody say dust them.
Yeah.
Is there going to be something?
So I can tell you where the conversation is at right now, because we're definitely going to do something with this. We're aware that people just building up loads of commons, and it's like they become almost demoralizing when you have these back. We're looking at dusting, but so dusting is exchanging the cards that you have for coins or for gems, and we'd like to do it for gems, but in order to do that, what we're planning on doing is you will dust a batch of cards. So if, for example, you have, I don't know, say 30 commons of one kind, then you'd be able to exchange the 30 for a certain number of gems. But if you want to hold on till you've got 50 of them, you can exchange them for a proportionately, more gems. And so there'll be a kind of an incentive to keep hanging on to them until you kind of think, right, now that's really worth cashing them in. So that way, we think that we can make getting commons impacts an exciting thing again, which is what we'd like to get to.
Right, definitely. And it's kind of funny though. One thing that I'm seeing now more and more with the commons is folks starting to go and collect as many of a certain thing that they can. ATB, he collects the oddest ball yellow tang, and he requests one with every trade. And so whatever you're trading him, if it's fusion for fusion, you got to throw in a tang. And I have so many of the basking sharks because that's the one that I'll take from newbies 9 times out of 10, because they almost always have doubles of the basking shark. And I just wanted 2 of everything is what I want, as well as 1 of everything. And then I was like, shit, now I can't trade one of these. So now it's 2 of everything.
So you would be looking for a double of everything. Yeah. I remember there was a guy who really early on, straight after we launched, he just got like obsessively into it. I know he was also guilty of multi-accounting before we actually shut that down, but he got to 100 sea otters really quite quickly. And then with that next update, there was a glitch where the sea otter card just suddenly was removed. It just disappeared from the collections, and he completely freaked out. He's like, I've collected 100 of these, and now you destroy it. And anyway, we got it back in. But it's amazing how people kind of go, yeah, actually, I'm just going to set this mission for myself. I love that about the yellow tang, and getting 2 of everything. Great idea. It's like people have these little calling cards for how they play the game. So,
Yep. And
and sort of make the game what they want it to be, and sort of do a little sub thing. And that's what's so great about it, is it's limitless.
Yeah, it is, because the way that I've described it, in a lot of our voiceovers, if I can get this pulled up so I don't mess it up, is I say that it's a what do I say, a trading card collecting battle card game that has a little something from everything. And it really is. It's whatever you want it to be. You can go in there and just collect the cards and spend all day in the base camp trading and working it that way. You can build up your decks to battle against friends, just friends only, or you can go into the leagues. And it works different. The battles work differently both ways. The leagues, they'll have different rules every week, whereas if you just go battle head-to-head with a friend, the rules are there aren't no rules, basically. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, in the head-to-head, because you guys screwed up one of my favorite decks with making that not be able to go negative anymore.
Yeah.
So can that still be done head-to-head? I haven't checked. Or is that
no? It's a new it's a rule across the board. It freaked me out when I saw it as well. So it was a surprise internally, but it does reframe things. So suddenly cards which you would never dream of playing, I think it's like Mir and Oda Nobunaga, the Japanese general. Suddenly they become actually worth getting out and putting back into your deck. Right. So that's a fast rule that is staying now. There are other rules around energy per turn and so on. They're going to change each week, but the energy floor that's staying.
Okay, so why did it, with so many energy drain cards like the Scorpion Fly and all of those, what prompted this rule? Is it because there were the assholes like me that had the decks that kept people negative and we didn't have to do anything really other than take people negative? Or was there some other...
I couldn't possibly comment, Matt.
No comment.
Some people are really cruel.
Yeah,
they are. It's tough especially if you're a newer player, if you haven't kind of clocked that strategy, you just find you just pinned against the wall right from the start. So hopefully it limits a bit of that. Sorry, it does kind of suck some of the fun out of it for yourself. But
you, Matthew.
You understand.
Well, you just have to rework those decks, and that's kind of one thing that I do like is that things are. There's no way that you can make the one end-all be-all deck with, you can think that you have every best card in the game, but it's a luck of the shuffle for you, a luck of the shuffle for your opponent, and there's new cards all the time, and so the koala, everybody wants the koala bear. It was another one that I ended up just saying, screw it, I'm trading for because I've spent too many gems on this thing and I still didn't get it. But then, the koala I actually pulled out of like the third pack. And then I was like, oh, it's so easy to pull. I traded it away. And then I had to overpay to get another one. But and that was just my luck. And I should have known, it was a legendary limited legendary. So I should have known that it was just my lucky day. I wasn't going to have to spend 100 coins or 100 gems on trying to get it. But is there anything that is upcoming? I know we just had the big change. Us guys that were on beta, we checked out leagues for weeks and checked out the bugs. And when we got that, everybody's on the same page now. So what's next? Is there anything that's on the horizon other than keeping the cards pumping and keeping Lucy busy right in the backs of them? Or
we've got quite the roadmap is kind of packed. So we know all the things we've got to do by pretty much the end of the year. It's just the order keeps shifting around where we suddenly go, actually that's really important. So one of the things which we're really conscious of is the fact that some people, they just don't like to pay any money in the game, and that's absolutely fine. And we want to make sure we've done, I think, pretty well so far, and people don't feel that it's a pay-to-win game.
Right.
But we know that when we put out these codes for gems, we're always it's always in danger of being that, and we don't want it to ever feel like that. So we need to give people ways to earn gems. So we're doing something which we're going to be putting video ad rewards into the game, so that people who really, I would prefer to just watch a bunch of ads in order to get gems. They can do that. So it's not a decision we took lightly. We're not going to put any ads in which anyone has to watch because I can't stand apps like that.
But we just wanted to make sure there's a way for people who, maybe they just don't have any money, or they just, for whatever reason, don't want to ever buy gems. There's going to be a way for them to get gems. So that should increase. I'm hoping that increases the pool of competitive players for everyone. So we've got that. We've got themes coming in, which is going to be a bit of fun. So you'll be able to actually theme your app experience around, perhaps like a particular animal or a particular sort of historical event. And that will give you special taunts and emojis that you can use in games just to try and make it a bit more social, So.
And Andrew asked a really good question here, and I'm glad he brought it in. Will we ever be able to trade up to 4 of the same card, or will it always be you can only trade one Therizin in that trade? You have to do multiple trades.
So it's a very good question, and it's a question that the trading engine that we have is quite a unique thing, and it's capable of some very, very complex trades. We did some work going back about 3 years ago with the NBA with Panini, and there's a guy who we have unlimited trading on that. And we had a guy who was absolutely furious with customer service because he actually took a day off work to build a trade of over 1,000 cards, and the game crashed after he'd passed the 1,000 card mark when he was building up this trade, and he lost the trade. He didn't lose the cards. He just, all of that work building up this trade was lost. And there was a part of me that wanted to say, what were you thinking? But of course, we'd enabled that. We'd said, there's no cap on this. And so whenever there's something like this, there's always a trade-off between, what you can do theoretically and what is practical for the vast majority of users. So by keeping it to, you just got these slots and you get 1 card in each slot, it keeps it simple for everyone. But I know that we're going to keep getting this pressure to add multiples, and I think we're bound to revisit it at some point. But it's a question of balancing, what a few people would really, really like with the kind of what makes it really easy to understand for everyone else.
Well, and I really don't think that we have to have the ability to trade more than 4 cards. But if we could trade 4 of the same card, like I could trade 4 biofusions to Andrew, and he could give me, 4 sloths or whatever we're doing there. When
you're trading for fusions, it's so much easier, isn't it? When you're doing it like that. Yeah. Okay, right. Pen, I'm writing that down. Okay.
He means business now. He's writing it down.
Andrew, who is clearly listening, noted. Andrew, it's noted. Okay.
Fantastic. Andrew is great. Lucy, Andrew is the one that did that card that I showed you.
Yeah, that's so good. So good.
Geek card. Yeah. And still hopeful that that's going to make the rounds, and we might see the geek inside the game, but we'll have to wait and see.
It's a great community. It's so many great players. It's great, the sort of feedback and the conversations and engagement we're getting on social media and in Discord. It's just a really great community, and that's something that we just want to grow and keep doing the videos and keep engaging people on Twitter. And we started doing all the Q quizzes on Twitter as well, so people can use the knowledge from their cards to answer the quiz questions. We've mocked up a sort of 70s style quiz studio, which you've probably seen, and then they can win gems. And so it's just sort of taking the game and just having some fun with it, which I think people are really enjoying. So
now, Meredith and I have, from almost the moment that we met you guys, we have been whispering back and forth because we of course have a lot of contacts in a lot of different places, but we used to work with another platform that dealt in cryptocurrency. And is there any thoughts to being able to accept crypto in game for gems or packs, or anything? Because there's the reason that I ask is there's an easy way to do it with a company that we know, and so I just didn't know if that was anything that y'all thought about.
Well, no, not really. I mean, we've talked about blockchain quite a lot, because as soon as you're dealing with trading collectibles, then blockchain is obviously as a kind of platform. It's something which you need to consider. But actually accepting crypto is not it's not something that we've really discussed internally. So you know, I guess I'd be really interested to have a conversation around it and understand the merits of it. And you know, we have a couple of people who really understand cryptocurrency internally. And then you got me, so you're speaking to the wrong guy right now. But but to understand kind of what's the benefits of, you know, going down a sort of Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and is it an either or kind of thing, or that nearly landed on my head. You know, that very, very close.
That is
Matthew, you laid an egg.
Yep, I laid an egg. That's only half of the code, though. If you are watching right now, you've got half of the code. I'll flash it up there again in a minute.
It's such a tease.
Yeah,
I just one of those things.
What was that, Meredith?
Well, I was going to say, like, one of the things with blockchain, I'm not a professional, I'm not a dev or anything like that, but it's just when you have the collectibles and things, and you can associate it to a blockchain address, you know, so that it's unique. It has its own unique address, and you know, people know where it came from, and that timestamp and things of either when it was created or when you bought it and things like that. There are a lot of interesting ways that you could do it. And, you know, again, I'm not a blockchain person, but it might be something that you guys think about, you know, as far as collecting, especially the legendary, you know, the bigger, more rare cards.
And we can definitely see about we could definitely see about getting a handshake going between you guys, between the folks that Meredith and I know, and just kind of maybe getting that conversation started with the right people over there.
At least a Q&A, yeah. That would be very cool.
Because, you know, I don't see anybody dropping, you know, Bitcoin on some gems, but I could definitely see them doing some Ether or some XRP. God, I totally lost my train of thought. XRP.
No, you had it right. XRP.
Yeah, there's a lot of those littler ones that even I would do, you know, that just because of having someplace new to spend it. You know, there's still not all of those avenues, those venues where folks can spend their cryptocurrencies. And so it's just something that I wanted to bring up.
No, we'll definitely want to look into it more. And what I'm going to, instead of reading all the other Geek Insider articles and skipping over the ones which have cryptocurrency, I'm going to start reading those ones as well, so I understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, those are done by another friend of ours from that same platform. I brought my own crew with me over to Geek Insider, but Alan Daniel, he's the one that I defer to on tech stuff and crypto stuff. I know enough about crypto to be dangerous to myself and my bank account, and that's about the extent of it. And I can write about it. I did write a book on Ethereum a couple of years ago. I didn't know crap about it at the time, but I researched it, and somebody paid me to do it, so I did a book on Ethereum. I couldn't tell you much about Ethereum at this point, but I got a book on it. But anyway, off of cryptocurrency, back over to Cards, the Universe, and everything. You know, again, folks, if you haven't done so, hit your app store. You want to download Cards, the Universe, and everything. But a big thing, and I prodded Lucy the other day, and I told her and I have to communicate better, because one thing that I didn't know until I went to cardstheuniverseandeverything.com was you guys have this special deal for educators right now because of COVID. And I just, again, that was another thing that just made me really proud to be associated and partnered with you guys. But it showed me that, you know, my initial impression of you all was correct, because y'all are trying to make it to where, you know, you're not trying to get rich off of this. You're not trying, like you said earlier, Paul, you're not forcing people to watch ads every time we log in. You're not forcing those that you absolutely, you know, can't spend money, whether they're 12 and mom won't give them, you know, the credit card to get some gems. They still have an opportunity to get those exact same cards. It's not a pay to play. You can pay, but if you pay, you end up like me with every card, and then you still get your butt kicked. So you have to learn to play as well, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just go out there and get every card and think that you're going to whip everybody. Oh, there we got a couple of good questions there. MJ asked if there's going to be any World War II cards.
This has come up quite a bit on Twitter on the poll.
Yeah.
This has come up repeatedly. Yeah.
It's a really weird combination of things which people seem to be particularly keen on seeing, which is something around sort of World War II, World War I, war machines, tanks, that kind of thing, and burritos. I don't know if there's some kind of overlap there, but it's like, I want foodstuffs, I want burgers and burritos. It's like,
people really
so
want
yeah.
Burrito, legendary.
I think there's bound to be some World War stuff in there. I mean, I always find it. Is there something dispiriting about the World Wars? But as long as we can kind of capture the positive, because we want it to be an inspirational app, we want it to be something which kind of gets people excited about the real world and excited about history, and so I think we have to sort of tackle the World Wars in there and do so in an inspirational way. That's not just about hey, this thing was really good at killing things. It's got to be something above and beyond that.
Yeah,
we had a conversation in Discord the other day. Me and a couple of the folks did, and we were kind of throwing those ideas around. And I was like, one thing that I would kind of suck would have to be going, I'm looking for Hitler card, but then I was like, because I would have to have it. I would have to have a lecture.
Yeah.
And then we have the Mad Monarchs. We have people that have killed a lot of people, and so would that would we not touch on Hitler because it's Hitler, or would Q stay with history, and would there be a Hitler card?
That's a great question, and I think I'm not up on my constitutional law, but is it taking the fifth?
You can plead the fifth.
I'm gonna take the fifth.
Yeah, there are so many things, whether it's like the generals or the tanks, airplanes. But going back to the burritos thing, I'm confused about that. But there was one. I'm just going to pull this up again because I thought it was hysterical. I didn't read it before I did my screenshot when I put this up here, so I want to read it for anybody who can't see it. It says, West Indian manatees make use of flatulence as a buoyancy aid. Simply when they fart, they dive deeper underwater. And I was like, what? All right. Well, I guess if you fuse that with burritos, hey, you got a great card.
A superpowered manatee, yeah.
There's a good combos there.
Good point. Yeah, we when we were doing cards, we were kind of coming up with quite serious kind of abilities, and then it was when we had tornado, and we were like, let's do something with sharks, and that was kind of the first time that we did something really stupid with special abilities, and we've done a lot more kind of dumb abilities, just having a bit of fun with it since then. But yeah, definitely burrito powered manatee. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
That's the dream.
That's the ultimate combo right there.
Great. Combo city. You don't get better than that.
And for
Matt laid another egg here.
Yep, I laid another egg. That's the second half of the code. You better go quick. There's only a limited number available. But if you were paying attention to the first half, there's the second half of the Q code.
All right. Happy Easter, guys. Yeah, you got to jump on those quick.
Yeah.
Very much so. And folks are quick with those codes too, man.
So quick.
I learned that the hard way on y'all's Twitter. When y'all's mean fastest 5, y'all seriously mean fastest 5.
Yeah. It's like within 20 seconds and they're gone. Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'll delete that because otherwise it's unfair because people will see it. But it was literally, I think the other day within something like 8.3 seconds, it was ridiculous because I think people are getting the notifications and they've got it loaded up and then it's becoming super, they're so competitive and I'm just like, it's really bad.
I don't even bother. I can't take the pressure because I always miss out. I always miss out on the timed things, and people are so quick because they're literally waiting for these things. I really believe that they're sitting on their phones going, all right, I'm getting ready to hit the button. And, so I don't stress out because I never get them. So I'm like, have fun, guys. You know, I mean, this is not the competitive fight that I'm in for right now.
I know, because I thought when we did the 5 use ones, it would go a little bit longer, but no, it was just zoom out the door. It's great.
We are just about out of time here. If you guys can just reiterate where we can find you, a little bit more about the card. I'm going to do the overlay again so people can see. Make sure you guys download it. Let me just pop that in here. And then we are going to get Rob in here. He's got a panel for convention prep, and he's gonna take over. But let me just pop this in here again. If I can find, there we are.
There it is.
Yeah, if you could.
So, Cards Universe,
just
this is the app you want to be playing. You can get fantastic knowledge. You can be competitive. You can play with friends, families, make trades. You'll be a great dinner party guest. You'll win all the quizzes. You will learn
all your dreams will come true.
You will learn about manatee flatulence, and you might get a giant burrito card one day. So that's it. You're living the dream. QCardGame.com. Download today, and happy Easter.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, guys. Really appreciate it.
And happy Easter, and it's great to.
Good luck with the rest of Virtual Con.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks so much for y'all. Thanks for coming, guys. We look forward
to partnering.
Twitter and everywhere else. Bye.
Bye. Hey, Rob.
What's going on?
Hey, Rob. What's up?
How's everything going on today with you? Wonderful people on this Easter Sunday of bubblishness. We're all in our own bubbles. Did you hunt for Easter eggs? Did you find bunnies pooping in your
Ew.
Yeah, you missed Matt and I with our intro this morning, because not only did we have after hours, like with an S, then we shut down and we were still talking, and I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And with a couple of whiskey drinks, so I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I took the laptop on the back porch and was sitting there, and I ended up going through a half a bottle of whiskey, and next thing I knew, it was really late. And I'm like, crap, Meredith, we got to be up in 6 hours or be on.
That's when you should let the stream continue to run. That would be the most entertaining 3 to 4 hours in the middle of the night. You know what Meredith said after 2 shots of whiskey? Yes.
We've done that actually on another platform that we worked for.
Yeah.
We did.
We were watching the Democratic. Well, we can tell. We were watching the Democratic debate, and the challenge was that anybody who invoked the name Trump, we had to take a sip of our drink, and then we were like, maybe we should do shots, and then we were like, no, we're gonna be dead. No, this was back in when was this? January? Yeah, this was a few months ago. And it was so funny because people tuned in to see us getting drunk.
Yep.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, we just had the audio of the
political
debate.
stuff. Yeah,
we just had the audio going in the background. We weren't live streaming it, but we had even put up the kind of a poll of what word we should drink on, and I was like, man, with the word Trump, we're going to be freaking toasted. And we both went through a good sized bottle that night. So we have done the drunken streaming thing. I was, towards the end of the night, I was already hitting the whiskey before we killed the show, or before we stopped the show. I just couldn't wait any longer. And we won't say what time I voted. It was just, hey, the boss pays us, but he doesn't, there's no drinking on the job clause. That's one reason we like the boss. But Rob, for those that didn't tune in yesterday, why don't you introduce yourself? And Christian, for those that are just tuning in, introduce yourself again, and then we'll let you guys do your thing.
Hey everybody, I am known as the indie underground advocating devil, because I advocate for indie comics and underground comics, and I am here to talk to you about prepping for a comic book convention and how to survive it.
Mm-hmm. And I think the four of us have been to cons, like several. Who wants to take over? Who wants to? Well, you know what? I actually have a question, because when it comes to people who are new, maybe they've got their first comic book or their first book, and they want to go to a con. Of course, it's the phone ringing. A lot of people are like, well, sometimes these tables are really expensive. Am I allowed to combine my table and our resources together and do that? Can you guys speak about that a little bit?
Do you want to start, Christian? I know from my point of view.
I was trying to figure out the question. I apologize, Meredith.
She's asking you, how do you look at your cost of table and decide how to properly do it? Are you sharing it with someone, and are you allowed to share it with someone? That's basically the question, right, Meredith? Yeah.
You go first, because I really need to process that question. Yeah, go ahead. I have an answer, but I want to get my thoughts out before I just.
Okay, fair enough. So this is not an easy question to answer, and a lot of that just comes down to the pure fact of what are you doing there. So I'll speak for myself, since I am a comic book creator and I go as a comic book creator. It also will then determine by the show. I don't team up with anyone on my tables now that I've established myself more going forward than with someone who is actually involved in my own work. So no con can say anything. They are a collaborator with me. And therefore, I'm allowed to share any table I want with anyone I've collaborated with. Mm-hmm. And I luckily have a deep pocket of people I can pick from to choose to share a table. So that does help. I'm disappearing. We're all disappearing.
We are?
Am I back?
You're still
yeah, I saw the wheel of death. So
okay.
So I pick it based upon cost is definitely important to me. Of course, I want to make money. The whole point of being there is to make money, and you don't want to make money just to pay for everything. Then you're doing that coal miners song where all you're doing is paying $5 more and you're deeper in debt. So I don't want to do that. I want to, of course, be at a show, and some shows are ridiculous. We talked about this with Meredith when we did the other panel on this on our panels that we do every weekday at 4 p.m. on my OnCon network. It's hard. It's not an easy one, and a lot of it goes down to, and I have this with my Gradacon. Gradacon shows all the different shows, and we were going to start grading them this year and talking about where all the good cons are, and then we can't talk about cons that aren't there. So we're stuck right now. I guess judging virtual cons, but when you go back, you have to decide first cost, hotel, travel, and also don't forget this important part. And a lot of people forget this: food. A lot of people want to go, I want to go out. No, rent a hotel that has the ability to microwave food. Mm-hmm. Get a room that'll maybe have a microwave in it. That'll save you a lot of money, especially on the longer shows that you're worried about. And Brian K. Morris is actually joining us. Here comes BKM. He's just getting off. He just got off the hot plate.
Man with a fez and a bow tie. Got my heart.
He said just get off. Anyway, hi guys and gals. How you doing?
You were talking about that Mel Gibson film where he was the Passion of the Christ, the BDSM scene. So I don't know, man.
Only Rob.
And you should have seen it.
Uh-oh.
And that's what it did to him. Holy cats.
That's exactly.
That's what you get for blaspheming on Easter.
Everybody strike a pose right now. There we go.
That'll teach you, Rob. That'll teach you.
I think somebody needs to reboot Rob. I don't know. Maybe that computer.
I see it all the time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think Rob needs a good rebooting too. And his computer.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hi, folks. I'm your host, Brian K. Morris, on this special edition of
Freeze Frame. Now freeze.
Hi, welcome to the Annex.
Well, Brian,
yes,
we're talking about how do you decide what show to go to based on costs, based on Could you share a table to make it more affordable? What makes you choose what shows to actually do? Christian, are you ready to answer? Or do you want Brian K. Morris to go first?
I'll give it a shot there.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we have a different perspective. We provide entertainment for the shows. So sometimes there is a give and take to the convention, but I think there's three things involved.
Okay, that's not me this time, right?
What's that?
Oh, that's him. Okay. Welcome to Easter. We're all disappearing. Oh, wait, he's back.
And if you're just joining us, the Underground Envy advocating.
He froze too at the perfect place.
Circle of death there. Okay, so yeah, there are a couple things. First of all, the one that's always on the tip of my mind is, why am I going? Is always the purpose. Why am I being there? Is it worth it? And can I take this loss? Meaning that you have to go into this going, if I spend the money on the con and I have a product that doesn't sell, or in my case, I don't have an audience that grows in that time, if I'm not gaining a new audience, so what am I going there for? And that, I think, is the biggest question of it, because it answers all the other stuff. Is it worth it? Is it worth the price of admission? Do we collaborate? Yes. The whole radio show is about collaboration. I mean, everybody who is on my show, The Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show, they are in some point like our director, Melanie Dean. She's an artist and she promotes her art. We have Jessica Womack, who does cosplay. We promote her Instagram cosplay. So I always find it like when we're podcasting, we kind of have a mutual network of things there, but they're also big in their profession. We have a gentleman by Brian Barres. He does a YouTube channel called Dr. Freedom. Anytime a segment of news drops, he's on top of it as far as Dr. Who news, and then he gives his opinion about that. Everybody has their take in there. So to answer that question, we're already in a collaboration, but I think the collaboration has to be, is there something, a give and take? Meaning that usually when I do, like I said, if I get somebody who's helping with the table because I'm doing panels, I have a friend named Victoria Padilla. She does cookie dough cosplay, and she does a lot of Doctor Who cosplay. But if I do panels, she's very happy to be sitting at the table promoting our show at the same time she's promoting her cosplay, the give and take. So as long as somebody's there, knowing that if they're coming on, for a better term, what our showrunner says, Garrett Pomacher, if you're coming in on my ticket, you're coming in on my dime. That means if I'm getting you in to help me out there, whether I pay for the ticket, whether the show paid for the ticket, you have to be respectful that you're coming in on my show. Now, also, I will be respectful to you. Once you give out my flyer about the show, then you can talk about your cosplay. And I think that's the mutual agreement that you can have, because you can collaborate. Is there something? If somebody has something like a Star Trek, I don't know if I'm going to collaborate, or, is talking about Magic the Gathering, something that has no dynamic whatsoever. But if you're willing to work it out, I'll just say it this way. I had somebody who was on my team, one team on another radio show, the other Doctor Who radio show, who would cosplay anything but Doctor Who. And I said, you're going to sit at our table. You're cosplaying Doctor Who. That's the reason why you're here. This is your promote. You want to promote your cosplay, fine, but you have to dress Doctor Who because our radio show's here and you're in on our dime. So I hope I answered that question.
Well, I do have a follow-up, but I do want to
Sure.
make a comment. Roger had said something about blasphemy. I saw it in the comments and it was put up. Oh, yeah, here it is. Happy Easter. Want to try blaspheming Jesus again? No, I was blaspheming Mel Gibson. Totally about Mel Gibson. It was all about...
He is blaspheme.
It was about Mel Gibson, different religious sect. Follow-up question. You don't... Okay, do you pay for a lot of the tables or you don't? Because I'll get into why. You get invited.
I don't... I prefer not to say.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let me ask you this. Because there are rules for creators. This is why I'm asking. Well, there are rules for creators where we're not allowed to share. Remember I said that they had to collaborate with me? It's a loophole. Anyone who collaborated is welcome at my table. They can't say anything about that. But if they haven't, like, I don't know, Brian K. Morris, let's say we weren't in the Advocator together and I invited him all the way down to Florida. They could kick him out of the show if we'd never collaborated. The fact that we're in the Advocator, they can't say anything because we've teamed up. Is it the same with you guys? Do you have to worry about trying to explain why that person's at your table? because this is just, you said your entertainment. We're not. We're usually in different sections too. And to be fair, cosplayers usually have a red carpet rolled out, while Artist Alley is usually smaller. So I am curious, are there rules given to you about who can be at your table? Because I've seen some tables with 15 people, and I'm like, what the hell is going on there?
Well, that's cosplayers. They have their own set of rules that I don't think we're attributed to. But yeah, I mean, if Brian did something, like I said, now we're going into stuff that it's not that I don't feel comfortable with, but because we deal with so many conventions and stuff like that, now we're going into territory. I don't want to pit one convention over another. Who gives? Well,
just be vague. Just be vague with us. Is there a situation? Let me phrase it so it's really easy to answer.
Sure.
Is there a situation where they make you prove the person you're working with you have actually a reason to have them at your table?
In the past, no. They just give us a set because it's all about with our direction. It's the media.
Okay.
And I mean, we can, as long as they are performing some kind of feat for us, whether they're watching the panel table, which they're in the panel, which they're promoting our show. The media is kind of separate. Now, I can't explain for everybody else, and I don't want to give out the secrets because I don't want to put. I don't want to say, yeah, exactly. I don't want to say, well, this show gives us this, and this
some
show
things happen behind the curtains, and I totally respect that.
Exactly,
it's supposed to happen.
It's a question, not that it's a question to say, listen, we try to make everything fair, but I think the product speaks for itself, and I'm not trying to be gloaty about it, but we do. I think for right now, we are the highest podcast subscription social media. I think our Facebook is right now up to 33,700 people. And not only that, but our reputation. We've gone to different conventions. A lot of the people who work on the team have been in other panels and conventions. So we have something to bring to the table as far as the show is concerned. We're not.
I've tabled next to Christian. He's nothing but respectful. He engages the fans very nicely. He's mindful of his neighbors, and he's always got a smile on his face. It's a pleasure to be around someone like Christian. So I don't have a problem with him because he's not a cosplayer. He has a real media presence. But I've seen him, unfortunately, always put with cosplayers. So I don't know if that was something that he likes, because I've never seen you in like an Artist Alley with us. Whenever we've run into each other, you've never been in an Artist Alley, which I think you should be able to be in there because you do cover content that is geek related. It's far better than when they put the crafters in with us. I would take you any day of the week over a crafter.
I appreciate that. I take you guys over. I'm not. It's like I said, it really is the independence of each convention, what they have to offer, what they think we have to offer as far as fandom, as far as attention, as far as the entertainment. We bring that. Now, how they want to barometer that with our contract, that's up to them. And if we are able to, but again, it goes down to the three basics. Why are we there? Is it worth it? Can we take a loss if we go there? If I get the hotel room, or if they're providing the hotel room, if I'm getting the table or they provide the table, if I'm getting the panels, or they want us, whatever, is it worth the loss? Then those three go into play. And if I answer no to any one of those,
you get out of the show.
We get out of the show. Yeah. I'm not a good example there. I'm sorry, Brian. I don't want to take up. The biggest show that I know of that all the hooligans go to is Gallifrey 1. There is no way in hell we're going to go to Gallifrey 1, not because we don't want to be at Gallifrey 1. Just the round trip alone, the airfare for me is like $1,000. Then the hotel. Then if we get panels, because they've already got their set of podcasters out there, and they already have an established base. And as far as what we have to offer, I don't know. It's a brand new convention. It's just like another new convention. The conventions, what they do for us is not only bring in new guests, new subscribers, new audience, but also keep in touch with the old ones who don't have a chance to get the questions or don't have a chance to talk to us or just want to see us. I literally, I'm not boasting in that when we would go perform at SuperCon, we have people who have openly expressed to me, it says, we planned our whole day against yours, meaning that their first priority with their celebrity choices first, and then they said, then we planned you in. So we must be doing something right, and we must be doing something for that convention for them to bring us back.
Are you slated for SuperCon? Because I know with the new management, a lot of Florida creators said that they
Go ahead. I'm not going to, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned yesterday, we're slated for 7 conventions, including Super and Mega.
Okay. So we'll see you at Mega and Super then.
Yeah.
And Brian.
And it wasn't an easy task because it was reapplying for your job that you've done unswervingly.
Yeah.
You had to reapply. It was just like, okay, and I'm not downing SuperCon, but it used to be I could go up to one person, say, we're coming back, what would you like to offer and what would you want us to do? And it was the same thing with MegaCon. Now with Fan Expo having changed out, now with
Reed Pop,
thank you. It was a job application. We had to reapply. I had to tell them, yes, we have all these subscribers. Yes, we've done this before. To people that didn't even know who we were. And I was just like, it was freaking out. It was like, okay, I guess every convention that we've gone to, but apparently they've seen our stuff.
I think you guys do good stuff. And speaking of people who do good stuff, Brian, I'm curious to know why you pick a show, because you're a guest. Like, I still need to know how you've become a guest so many times. This man is a guest at almost every show he goes to up there in the Midwest.
As he should be.
I can't even get any respect in my town. I'm like Donnie, what was it? Donnie, what was his name? I don't get any respect. You know him,
Rodney
Brian.
Dangerfield.
Thank you, Rodney Dangerfield. That's how I feel in Florida lately. Like, every show is like, oh, you?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Those too. Yeah, Rob, you and I will talk sometime about my secret. Is somebody I used to work for in the cemetery business used to say there's a little larceny in everything we do, but no, it is based. I am a guest frequently, and in some areas I'm not. But like Christian said very wisely, I don't want to pit my conventions against each other, because some I get more love from than others, but. Then again, I also bring a certain amount of pre-promotion to their shows. I'm always talking about them on my many shows. Never mind the furthermore 10 a.m. On my channel every day now. And I sneak in promotions like that. But no, getting back to why I pick certain shows as I do. Traffic is one consideration, like how many did you have last year? Also, I look at the guest list. Like, if I don't do incredibly well at shows where it's a Wizard World kind of show where there's like 50,000 guests of varying
Wizard World. Brian.
Sorry?
No one does good at Wizard World.
I only know one person that does, and I don't know why, because they're not comic books. Maybe that's it. But it's like the king of self-promotion. Thank you. I fought hard for that title. But no, it's like if I see like somebody, they're promoting somebody who is like, hey, this person was third Ewok on the left in scene 479 of the Ewoks movie. Oh, yeah, that one. Got to get that autograph. And also, I take into account the admission fee to get in. Because a lot of times at these shows, even in larger cities, a lot of fans, they blow it before the minute they walk through the threshold. They're out of money. There's nothing for the floor. And so it's a kind of a balancing act with that. With all the factors that go into a convention, which is why I'm more comfortable doing mid to small level conventions. It's not that I make like $1 bazillion on it, because basically, whereas Christian is entertainment, I am more retail, more or less. So I have to also figure out, is this trip going to be worth my time? Because as an author, this is time I cannot create. People get nervous when I'm on the expressway typing on my laptop. Don't ask me why. But and if I'm at a show that's at least 5 hours away from my home, unless I go the night before, that whole day is blown for me, because I get up like at dark 100, about the time that decent people should be getting to bed, and I'm out driving on America's thoroughfares and getting up, setting up, doing the show, breaking down, then traveling home. And it's not unusual for me at times to have a 22-hour day, because except for maybe right now, driving is cheaper than getting a room. You know, and all I'm doing at the room is basically changing my clothes, brushing my teeth. I save time on the hair brushing my hair, but you know, it's just a place to stay temporarily. I don't really get a whole lot of benefit from it. So, you know, a lot of that goes into it, and it becomes a balancing act. And the more you do this, it seems like the more elements you find to have to play off of each other as far as your going in expenses. And I agree, Christian, you have to be prepared. Like, how much can I lose at this show? Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand, I also use it as a networking opportunity to meet other professionals who can teach me something, or Lord willing, I can teach them something. Or I have a lot of friends that show, you know, everyone has a con family. Am I wrong? Right? Mm-hmm. You know, I get to see my con family who mean as much to me as my blood ones. So, you know, there's a lot of factors to balance out. And it doesn't make it easy, and especially when you have two shows that are announcing for the same weekend that you have a history with. You know, sometimes you have to flip a coin and see which one you're going to be at, or weigh the issues of, you know, what goes into it and what you expect to get out of it. Mm-hmm. So that's my long-winded take on it.
And I just wanted to speak on that a little bit too, because, you know, having been a retailer, direct sales person, you know, getting these tables, when you're new, if you're going to your first one and you've got one comic book or one book that you've published, it might not be worth it to get your own table, because one, you might not have a following. Nobody knows who you are. So you really have to market yourself. Not only that, but you're still a business person at the end of the day. So what these guys were talking about were these expenses. You have to factor in your overhead. You have to factor in how many printed books, or printed items do I have to bring, my background, what my table looks like, you know, the time that it's going to take to set up and break it down. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, this is my background right now because I've got things on order, but, you know, so exactly. You know, so you have to, really have to put your business hat on. Did Rob?
Yeah, he did.
For anyone wondering why we're having so much trouble right now, you have to understand it's Easter Sunday. A lot of people are now online doing church. Mm-hmm. And this is tasking the internet. I've seen it all over my feed today. Why is everything running slow? Because there are a lot of people who are social distancing at home and not going to church, and they're tuning in. This is going to be one of the busiest internet days we're going to see right now. So, Meredith, you broke up at the point where you were talking about, I don't want to go in, and then you disappeared.
No.
No, you disappeared.
I don't think it was her, actually.
So we love you guys. We love you. It's yeah, and everybody. Well, not only that, but now people are going on church online. So everybody that's what's tying up a lot of the Wi-Fi. It's really true. But hey, to each their own.
It's my fault. Hashtag it's Brian's fault. Just start using that. So.
Well, Varian is not here, so we can't send hate mail to him. So you can send it to me.
Of course, if we became, and if anybody is a geek in Doctor Who, we became the Church of the Papal Mainframe, I'm sure either we're going to attract more people or we're going to get a lot more people running out. So I don't know. Now, hashtag it's Brian's fault. Okay, yeah. Can we get that started?
Meredith, there is one thing that you can do, and this is for anyone doing podcasting and starting out very early. Some shows offer fan tables, and fan tables can be free, and they can actually be a way for you to start to grow your business. The only downside is you have to have it manned. So if you're going there by yourself,
if you're going there by yourself, as I frequently do, it helps to have someone who can help you carry the load. Next, Rob will talk, and I'll take a drink of coffee. But we have a new guest with us. Hi, Rob. I took over.
You froze again, Rob.
We understand, brother. We understand.
It's okay. Okay, so this is the new drinking game for the day for Easter Sunday. Anytime Rob freezes, you have to pose and take a drink.
Yeah, my bladder's going to explode in about 10 minutes. Right?
But the thing that I was saying earlier was that you have to come in as a business person. At the end of the day, even though you're creative and you're like, hey, this is a great opportunity for me. If you're not looking at your budget for all of those things, every single thing, and people do forget about food. People forget about the cost of tolls and gas money. Parking. I mean, all of those things that you have to factor in, and you really have to look at it as a business sense. Is it smart for you to go in? Are you allowed to share a table so that you can share expenses there? Splitting a hotel room, okay, that's fine as long as they're not a creepy stalker killer. So there are ways that you can cut costs. You maybe carpool and things like that if there's room with all the stuff that you have to carry. So these are all things that you have to take into account. So treat it like a business, because that's exactly what it is. When you're going there, you have your storefront, and I don't know if that's something that I don't know if Rob had kind of a list of things that he might want to touch on, but that was another thing that I was curious about, is how you guys make that presentation at your table. I know that Rob has spoken about this on OnCon in some of his panels, and maybe we can just kind of touch on that. What does the presentation of your table look like? How do you present it? How do you market yourself once you're there?
Well, anything that hasn't been damaged on the trip going up there, like the tables and stuff, you kind of makeshift. And going back to that, because on our show, we have actually done 2 or 3 con survival guides. The best way that we've determined this is plan it as if you're going to Disney World, because you include the tickets, you include the time, you include the food and everything. Plan it as you're going to a theme. Not only that, but you got to plan the interior. But when you're inside, like, are you diabetic? Do you need medication? Do you need to take your meds and pills? Are you somebody who dehydrates easily? Know where the nearest water fountains, or have a supply full of water? Is that place is the place you're going like the TSA? Do they stop and frisk you and take away your your fun little plastic weapons on the way in? Is there something? Because I know there are a couple cons out there that won't even let let food in, which I don't understand. Because some people are in there, and some people have health conditions where they need to have a sugar rush, or they need something to keep going. So I've never understood that, but I understand.
Interrupting for one moment,
yeah,
I do
right.
know why. I do know why.
Well, okay,
a number of conventions have food vendors, whether they are internal or they have food trucks outside, and those guys sometimes have a no compete clause, so that if there's somebody in house who can create like $5 hot dogs and extra for all the condiments, they can say, okay, nobody can bring in food. Although I have rarely encountered a promoter who will say unilaterally that no one can bring in food if they have some sort of health challenge.
Yeah.
I just want to make that. I just wanted to put that.
No, I totally understand. If I'm bringing in a cooler and selling, bottled water for $1, I get it, because those guys may have got to make money. The people inside got to make money. I get it. I get that part. But if I'm just because it's 90 degrees out in Florida weather and the AC's not helping, I need a couple bottled waters in there. So I totally respect on that account. But again, it's planning for a theme park, planning what you're going to do, what the plan is for that day. Also, if you're planning and you're going there for your own entertainment, plan to have somebody either cover the booth and spend some time with you. Because if you're going out there and you want to see, I'll make it up, I want to see Peter Capaldi, and he's only showing up for one day, I want to make sure that I have the time away from my table to do that, because a lot of I feel bad for when I do a walk around occasionally at the cons, and I go, how's everything going? And the majority of the people are going like, I just, they don't appreciate the con, meaning that they can't be there to enjoy it. They're stuck at that little table from start to finish. When they got to go to the bathroom, it's urgency time. It's just like, well, if I can leave my table for 5 minutes, nobody's going to steal anything, right? Boom. You just have to have mentally the laid out plans as if you were going to a theme park. Am I going to Space Mountain first, or am I doing this? So that's the way we handle it.
Brian, do you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I would echo everything Christian said. I'm only now starting to get helpers to come with me because apparently I make this look sexy or something like that. I don't.
It's the fez and the bow tie.
It's the fez. It is the
I'm
fez.
in love with you already.
Ditto, brother, ditto. But it's like, like last year I had a friend who, was telling me, and I say this warmly because she's a wonderful lady, but she was like, wanting to be a writer, and she's like, well, you stay at all the best Super 8s. You go to these exotic places, like Applebee's and such like that, and you get up early in the morning and you drive all around the country. And I said, you've just described a lifestyle. It makes me want to open my veins on Friday morning, But and I brought her with me, and now she's got her first book out and is working on her second. So kudos to her for that. But yeah, you have to plan. I always liken it to you have to in my case it's like invading a small country that you have to plan for casualties, you have to plan for losses, and knowing that your plan will not survive the encounter with the enemy, and that's one thing in the last, I've been doing the road show since late 2012 for my Rising Tide operations. And there are a lot of shows that I used to attend for fun. I don't think in that time I have been at a show just for fun. Maybe 3 or 4 in all those years because I'm working constantly. But I'm the same way. I like getting out of my booth, even if I have to leave it for a minute, which is why you should be good to your neighbors, because they can at least keep an eye on things for you, and you can do the same for them because it's a cool thing to do. But I like getting out and just saying hi to friends I've got at the shows, or maybe checking out what's on the other tables. And I'm not so starstruck anymore that I need to meet the celebrities sort of thing. Although I would probably give a like an organ for John Barrowman. I still, he just sounds so awesome. But yeah, it's kind of, you have to strategize. You have to go in with a game plan, and then once you get there, you got to put your game face on and interact with people. And I'm kind of empathic, so kind of interacting with humans for a prolonged period of time is exhausting. I did a show last year where the promoters actually put me up at their house for the night, and we all went to dinner, and we all spent, virtually about the only time I was alone was when I was in my car going from their house to the event. And that night I was just so exhausted. I had another show in another town the next day, and she's like, come over and crash on my couch. I'm like, no, I've had enough people for a while. I wound up spending the night sleeping at an interstate rest stop. And I'm like, oh, no one around. This is great. Oh my God. So, you have to also take your internal messes into account as well. So # real writer problems.
Well, I approach it a little more logistically, and I'm sure you both do in the way, but you just didn't mention it. So I'll be the guy who does mention it. I'll do the metaphor, though, to sound cool like the cool kids. For me, it's not like going to Disney. It's like going to Disney and setting up in the middle of Disney and having to compete with everyone in Disney, including Goofy and Donald and Mickey and Minnie. Sleeping in a car is a real thing. It saves so much money and it makes things affordable. I have learned to sleep at the Walmart parking lot very often. I don't know if I will in the future because of all the testing that happened. Maybe I'll let the fog go away for a while and then start again. But no, really, sleeping in your car matters. But here's what you have to do. You have to be logistic about it. How long is the show? If it's a 2-day show, your setup should reflect a 2-day show. You want to go up fast, come down fast. It's not worth investing anything more. A 1-day show, you barely want to put stuff out. You put up your top sellers, and that's it, and the things that get attraction. You should have banners that are driving your audience to you for the most part, and you got to find that out on your own. Everyone's different, and I have different banners for different shows, and that matters. Am I going to a family-friendly show? So if I'm going to a family-friendly show, I shouldn't be putting out my free hugs and spanks sign. What I should be doing is pushing Cat Dad and Supermom.
Where do you think those families came from?
Well, it's not that you don't have adults. It's the impression that you will have. Because a family-friendly show, the people who are showing up are usually snobbish. They're usually, I want a very family-friendly event. Meanwhile, their kids will be dressed up as Harley Quinn. That's a discussion for another day. totally there. But
deviant cosplayers show up in the corner, and you're like, okay.
Hello, family services. Oh yeah,
you have to make that decision right away. What kind of show is this for me? Once you're invested in it, you then have to understand what stock you want to bring. Remember, the more weight you travel with, the more gas you use. So you only want to bring what you're going to sell and then a little more. You don't want to ever be so shortcut that if you sell out, you're failing unless you're done with that book. If you're done with the book, then yes, sell it out, get rid of it. But if it's an ongoing title for you, you should never sell out at your table. So you need to have enough. And you have to understand the shows. You have to understand the demographics. You have to understand what weather's coming. You have to understand the exact amount of, and this is something people don't do. Look up the area and see what the average annual income is. See what the demographics are. And I don't mean anything about the ethnicity. I'm talking age. Age is going to be a big factor. Okay, 1 second.
Well,
there
it's not frozen.
My computer went to sleep for some reason. It got bored of me. So it has to be the right fit for the show. A younger audience is going to bring money. A older audience isn't going to necessarily bring money, but they might be collectors. Mm-hmm. So then you got your all covers. There's so much that you need to really be investing your time in as a creator going to these shows. And a lot of people just show up, put up a tablecloth, and then that's it. I have different setups, and Brian has seen them over the year, depending on the show, depending on how much I have to draw. And Chris, you saw what I set up at that show. Mm-hmm. And we were at such an awkward space because that one guy had blocked out the entire ability to get in on the one side. I had to put up my this thing can go on top of my table. We put it up on top of the table, on top of a case to get it to go higher. And we finally started dragging people in. Funny story. I didn't realize that it was two-sided when I first put it up because it wasn't meant to go where we put it originally. So the woman behind us kept getting asked to give free hugs and spanks. That was hysterical. And you know, she's
cute.
The funny thing is, she was doing that armor stuff, like, you know, the medieval stuff. Yeah. And she's chain link. And it was really working for her. And she was like, she's like, yeah, I don't know if we should leave it. And I was like, we'll move it. And then the next day she made less sales after asking it to be moved. Ha ha, woman, you should have left it. But yeah, you got to understand the market. You got to understand where you're setting up. You know, if you're setting up at a mall, if you're setting up at a legitimate con, if you're setting up at a toy fair. When I go to a toy fair, I put out toys. People stop to get the toys, talk about the toys. And the next thing you know, there I am selling comics to the same people buying toys. You got to be smart on how you do this. This isn't just showing up. This is being the peacock and putting your feathers out, but putting the right feathers out. Don't be the peacock who puts the feathers out to the Wolverine. The Wolverine's just going to kill you. Learn what the Wolverine likes. So that's where you have to do your research. And then from that, you bring in the proper materials, you know?
Exactly. And I don't think you even have to tell the vendors as much, but look at the celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're going to be geeking out for more. Here's a funny. Ooh, what happened there? Here's a funny joke into that one. I won't say the convention, but they had 4 Doctor Who celebrities, and they all quit at the last minute. Do you remember that one convention?
Yes.
I will not say.
Yes, I know.
I remember hearing about that. Yes,
we got a message from that convention going, by the way, you're the Doctor Who celebrity. Everybody had bought their tickets to see these 4 celebrities. And we were the corner market because there was no Doctor Who presence whatsoever. And our panels were either standing room only or, and I even boasted, I said, yeah, look at this. Our panels, we had to turn people away. And they did capacity because they were here to see 4 other people. But a lot of them stuck around and said, hey, we like what you have to offer. Having said that, I was just like knowing that people who come in with the impression of, I'll just use this, Jason Momoa. I mean, if you're going to put out, if Aquaman's showing up, you're probably not going to put out a lot of Harry Cavill stuff out there. Or, you're going to try to, and I know a lot of vendors do this, but maybe some up and coming vendors, look at the celebrities, see what's going on out there. If it's Harley Quinn, and watch your cosplayers too. See, because that's a good trend as well. You can see the cosplayers trending to a Harley Quinn or the next Doctor who just showed up. Then you can move your merchandise to fit that. I've worked at tables where I'm like, why do you have this merchandise out here This is not what is the geekdom in here.
Well, unfortunately for me and Brian, that doesn't work. We can't draw, like, we can't make the Aquaman book. So for creators, they don't have that. But that's a great thing. And actually, we have artists that will be on later today that I'm sure definitely are approaching that. One thing I did want to talk about, because we had this question, we've been ignoring it, and I didn't want to. What is wrong with crafters? And I said it, so I'll start. There is nothing wrong with crafters. I will say that a lot of crafters are doing something illegal. They are using IP properties they don't have the right to sell, and they are doing so in an illegal fashion. There is a legal way to sell things with the licensing. Even if you're going to Joann's Crafts and you're buying the big things and making pillows, that is actually winds up being technically legal. But there are illegal things like when you're downloading things from the internet and putting them on belt buckles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, what is wrong with crafters in Artist Alley? Here it is. Artist Alley was originally designated to be cheaper places for creators to show up. It was artists and, yes, writers. The original New York Comic Con, forget what San Diego tells you, the first Comic Con was in New York City. Yeah. The first Comic Con had an Artist Alley, and that's all it was. It was writers and creators sitting around. It was at a hotel. That is where Bill Finger was actually discovered by the guy who made the documentary about Bill Finger, was at that Comic Con. There was nothing. There wasn't merchants or anything. Then you added the layer of merchants. So merchants came in. They started selling wares. Again, nothing wrong. Most of it's legal. Most of it's above board. Then suddenly creators started putting up banners, and Artist Alley began to change, and fan art started to come in. And I'm not going to get into a long thing about fan art. I'm not going to go very hard onto fan art, but fan art's not legal. Technically, it's not. It's illegal. It is what it is. So then suddenly we started having crafters come in the alleys. Now, here's the problem. Crafters and artists who are doing fan art can spend more on a table than someone that Brian K. Morris can, than someone that I can, because we're literally selling $5 to $10 at a time, where they're selling $30 to $40 items continuously throughout the day. So they should all be in the merchant section. And there's a lot of cons, I give a lot of credit, who are making craft sections now. And again, they belong at the show. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying they don't belong in Artist Alley. And if everyone's like, oh, crafters are Artist Alley, then okay, how come when I apply to go to a crafts fair, they tell me I'm not welcome because I'm an artist? It's not. It's not the same thing. It's not art. There can be artistic stuff behind it, but it's not the art form at a Comic Con. Now, if you're at a fan expo, or if you're at like an all like the fandom stuff, I can understand it. The minute you say comic book, Artist Alley means one thing. So that's my opinion on crafts. I don't have anything against them. I do wish they stay above board and legal. Beyond that, I don't think you belong in Artist Alley, but I do think that they maybe should look at giving you a crafts alley. But more than likely, you belong in the merchant section. The reason you don't want to be in the merchant section is because that's an expensive table. So you're coming in and taking away the opportunity from an up-and-coming artist. Just remember that. And it even says in the contracts down here in Florida and the ones throughout the United States, because I travel, you're not supposed to bring crafts into Artist Alley. And I get it. It's the fall of the convention. Like what Christian said, I don't want to call out a convention, but they're letting it happen. There are conventions that are certainly letting it happen and not following it up with it. So it's a problem that is not being addressed, same as fan art. But I'll leave it up to you two gentlemen.
Well, I will agree with you on a lot of that, Rob. I think the crafters should have their own section, and I don't see anything wrong with them being there except for the relevance. Like, I have been to shows, both book shows and comic book shows or pop culture shows in general, and there'll be somebody that has a big floral display there, which has nothing to do with anything there. But again, they're trying to get this, inexpensive table to sell their stuff. And if nothing else, it's a distraction from people that might have something relevant to sell to the customers who come in through the front door. I agree with you, and also on the IP issue, because I do a lot of times studying what is fair use and what is not. I'm almost becoming an internet lawyer in that regard. And I will see, I have read contracts where they make very specific mention that you are not to bring anything that is not authorized material For instance, you're not supposed, and they'll say very explicitly, you're not supposed to sell bootleg DVDs, for instance, and yet there'll still be somebody there that offers them, or they'll say, okay, you can't sell bootleg DVDs, and then there's somebody with like 2 full tables of Sailor Moon paraphernalia that they made at home. So I would like to, and of course, the infamous wall prints. I want to
the pirate sale.
Exactly, Rob, and I want to see promoters police themselves better. I've seen a little of it going on in the years I've been doing this. Both before I did Rising Tide, when I sold back issue comics, I see a number of promoters that do handle that well, and they they see it. Can't verify it's a license. Okay, pull your stuff down. But a lot of promoters only see the fact that they have made X number of monies because they have sold a piece of real estate at their show. And that's all that they're really into. And that's also, again, something else I take into account. Last year, was I set up next to somebody who is selling funeral wreaths, or was I next to somebody that maybe is selling toys? I know which I'd rather be sitting next to. So.
Well, I'm just going to address the chats over here. First of all, it was Phil Locklear who came. Whoa, you okay?
Yeah, my son's been kicking it all day.
It's the one time you do wish the screen would freeze. And I think I speak for Rob. We're not criticizing artists. I guess for the better term, for the legal artists, and I think you might also agree too, because I think it's harder for conventions. But I call it the cluster F for a better term, because I met people. I think for
Rob, stop crying, Rob.
It's just a banner. You can replace it.
Just you and me, Christian.
Staples got like 50% off there. Well, first of all, let me go ahead and get back to Stephen Ortson. I ended up buying Doctor Who art at an anime convention. I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. It's just that your audience is not geared to that. Now, geekdoms do cross over. It is a possibility. You could go to Star Trek convention. Somebody is selling Doctor Who merchandise, a sonic screwdriver, and you buy a Sonic. It's just that it's a Star Trek convention, so everybody has that perception. They're going in there full on for Star Trek. And going on Phil's notes, we're not criticizing artists by any means of imagination. I have quite a few artists, cosplayers. I have a ton of people, podcasters who work on my show. I would never criticize them because they're artists. I would like to think that I'm an artist in some kind of way, but that's up to the interpretation. But I think I can speak for all three of us to say that in a customer service sense, if I'm looking for a product, let's say I'm taking my daughter, I want her to get her pictures with cosplayers. There's a cosplay alley. I know exactly where it's at. If I'm getting a painting, I'm looking for a Matt Smith painting, I can go to the artist alley and I'm looking for a Matt Smith. Or if I'm going over here, if I'm looking for somebody who makes a certain craft. I'm trying to think of somebody just jump in and say something because I'm stupid right now.
No, you're good.
There's a crafters alley. That's good customer service, I think, in the essence for the convention. When I see conventions, sometimes it is a cluster. There's a podcaster sitting right next to like you mentioned, Rob, cosplayer sitting next to a podcaster who's sitting next to a crafter. Yeah, and there's no cohesiveness. Now, it might be up to the convention. They're going like, well, you know what? We want to give more.
But let me ask you, Christian.
Dimension, yeah.
Would you go to a grocery store that mixed things weirdly, where the vegetables are right next to the soda, but it's only a certain vegetable that's next to a soda, so you have to go across the way, and the other vegetable you want's now at the Bounty? Would that be a supermarket you'd ever shop at?
Yeah, I go to Costco all the time.
Point taken.
But Costco does try. I have worked actually for Costco.
And and Publix, who you will go down like the international aisle, and then all of a sudden there's a bread sandwich holder container. I'm like, why is that in the international? Why wouldn't that be in the bread aisle where it would actually make sense? Or they have like plastic straws next to the bread aisle. I'm like, wouldn't that be with the soda?
You don't drink your bread?
What's that?
You don't drink your bread?
Not this weekend, no. You didn't do that, little kid, when you were a kid? You would take the bread and you would take the straw and just like fill up the straw with the bread.
I still do.
There you go. See, that might be appealing to that audience. They may have that. They may have done the research, and I'm just talking on them. You know what? But just for customer service sake, I think your media should all be together. Now the problem is with the podcasters, they're all playing music and stuff at the same time, or they're demonstrating their podcasters. But I think if you keep them, and I don't want to use this word, but kind of in their own group or segregated because of customer service, where they know that if I go down here, that's what I'm looking for. How many times have you heard somebody go, "Where's this?" And they're in Artist Alley. Where's this podcaster? And he's in Artist Alley. Where is this cosplayer? And they're in the community center. I'm just like, if they could keep it consistent, I think it makes just for better customer service. But that's up to the convention too, and it's hard to. Like I said, I don't want to badmouth the convention when they're doing a service like that. For the craft, Stephen Orr says, for the crafter versus artist issue, both should have to submit examples of what they sell to qualify for the section.
Agreed. And we're joined a little late. This show actually started about an hour ago, so you're at the tail end.
I'm at the tail end of it. Oh, damn!
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought it was
so show us what you got.
Hour changes.
Yeah.
He's on Central Time.
Yeah, it's different times. I saw you coming. I was like, damn, it was the wrong time. Just tell him who you are, because we're on our way out anyway. Tell
him why you're awesome, Henry.
Yeah, tell him why I'm awesome. I'm awesome because I'm always late. I'm fashionably late, even if it's at the last second.
So tell them who you are, because we got to get out of here.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Henri Compen. I'm the writer, creator, and producer of Yisun Shin. I was really looking forward to talking to you guys about everything, but my fault. I was late. So hopefully, I'm sure Rob will have plenty of other opportunities for me to come on here.
All next week.
Yes, of course.
Well, thanks a lot, Henry. That was it. Great. Thanks so much. Just like a real convention,
I got to meet you, Christian.
You too. Just like a real convention, we got to end this early so we can get the next panel.
You know, I was supposed to be at a convention today.
Which one?
Indiana Comic-Con, but that's all right. We got.
I stopped looking at my schedule for the shows I was supposed to be at. My tears will never dry.
Real quick before you go, are any of you guys looking like, how the hell am I going to do this summer? As all these shows keep changing their dates, like, we're just going to go here and then this will be here.
No, it's not only that. They're
back-to-back shows.
They're bunking up against each other. SuperCon and Tampa Bay are on top of SuperCon and Tampa Bay right on top of each other. And not only that, I went insanely nothing against SuperCon, but I dreaded that they put it on 4th of July Day weekend. That's what they used to have.
I was like, it's tone deaf.
I'm totally with you, Christian. Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Right.
No, it's tone deaf because Christian knows this. That show's horrible because of July 4th. We've been asking for it to be moved.
And they moved it.
There were creators who are like, I'm not doing SuperCon. And they
will never do SuperCon again after 2014.
Yeah,
they literally had me on an end cap up against a wall. Like, there's nobody who is going to walk down an aisle just to hit a wall. That's where I was. I had to literally run out of the aisle in order to try and bring people over there, but there was no one fucking there on the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday.
It's a family show.
Yeah, it's a family show. Oh, no, sorry, I dropped the F-bomb.
Whose family, though?
That's what I get for coming on late and not knowing the rules.
This is Easter, man. Have some civility.
Jesus. No, Rob has probably taught her that word already. So.
He did that on my show earlier.
Oh, that kid, he drops it. He goes, what the? And I'm like, oh, no, you can't say that at school. All right, guys.
I have a friend who used to, when he'd get frustrated, he'd say, smoking too much crack, and he'd hit himself in the head with a book nearby. And he did this until his 5-year-old son went to school and did the same thing and had to come in for a special parent-teacher conference.
Sure.
I have parent-teacher conferences every day now. And I got to tell my kid, like, you're failing in math, you're failing in science, you're fucking failing everything. I mean, you're flipping failing everything.
All right, now that we've lost control of the show.
Sorry.
Everyone say your goodbyes because we want to give ICC. They're up next at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So, Christian, tell them how they can follow you.
Yes, sir. Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show on Facebook. We are part of the iHeart family, so please check us out. We're dropping new episodes every single week. You want to subscribe. And also, please check out, we just put it up just last month, thelegendofthetravelingtardis.com, where you can check us out with our events that are coming up. And yes, they're always subject to change, so just keep that in mind. And guys, just again, please stay safe. Please stay home. We want to see you out there. We love you all, and thanks for joining us. Well, I'll be back later on. Yeah, gotta go. Gotta have lunch with the folks. And I just want to address Stephen Ort. Says buy an RV, and I go, literally, it has to be bigger on the inside.
Nice. I agree. And I'm working on getting a van for conventions too. But anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publications, risingtide.pub. Also on Facebook, where we have new content twice a day. I'm also on every day at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central with Nevermind the Furthermore, Facebook live show where you are the guest star and you get to promote yourself. And on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central, I do a special show called Clever Title Pending, where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. But go to Rising Tide Publications, and we have a variety of books and a variety of genres. We think you'll find something you love. Check it out. Now to Henri.
Wow. How do I follow up from you guys? Anyway, since I missed this episode or this block of time to talk about convention prepping, you can go on YouTube and type in Onward with Henri. That's my show, and I do a whole episode about table setups. It's episode 069, and it's called Evolution, and it's 10 minutes of me talking about how I revamped my space. You can also find Yisun Shin online at www.yisunshin.com. I don't know if that's coming up backwards or not, but I'll move my head here, and it's yisunshin.com. And if you buy from me right now, I cover your shipping costs. I sign everything for you. I package it up. It's a beautiful thing. Come check out our store. We got excellent prices on everything, great books. You can learn all about our series through there.
And I am the advocating indie underground devil. It's been a pleasure to be with you guys today. Matthew is here to kick us out. Check me out at MrAnderson.com, and definitely check out what's next. My man Terrence Baker's taking over with ICC. And check out IndieAdvocates.com for everything indie. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
See you later, Matt. Yep.
Take care,
See
everyone.
you later.
Yep.
Bye, everyone. All right, guys, we do have ICC up next, but we are going to need you to wait just a couple of minutes and then re-click, because we have got to get a fresh link here for everybody. And so make sure that if you're not already doing so, that you're following or subscribe to our YouTube channel, and our podcast is available wherever you listen to your podcast, everywhere except iHeartRadio, and that is pending. That'll be up hopefully this week. But just give us a couple of minutes here, guys, not even a minute or two, and then click back in, and we will be right back with ICC.